Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi Yachts here, and it's Saturday morning, and the Raptors lost the Knicks again last night for the fifth time this year. It's annoying, but you know, I would say this: we are closer to beating the Knicks than the Celtics. I could say that's true. Also, I'll say this: any Knicks fans, including our own Milbester, that are going to think that they should be cocky in the first round against the Raptors in a playoff series, y'all better watch yourself. I'm going to say that right now. You better watch yourself. You go ahead and write some checks and say some stuff and brag and stuff like that. And, if we do face y'all in the first round, you may very well beat us, but don't get too sure of yourself. There's a lot of things that can happen that are going to be different than the regular season with the Raptors against you guys. There's a lot of things that could happen in different ways. So, yeah, get cocky. Go ahead, write a lot of checks with your mouth, and we'll see what reality happens next week. In some ways, we are doing some damage control with our own nation because people are stupid. They're nephews, and they overreact. Some people writing stuff out there negative about certain Raptors players that's just totally unnecessary right now. It's so funny how when we lose a game, everybody wants to point fingers and come with pitchforks and torches towards different people, whether it's the coach or some of the players. It's so childish and immature. It is so childish and immature. And honestly, it doesn't show any loyalty. That's why I hate these people. Like, if you're propagating anything negative about Jakob Poeltl today, what is wrong with you? Why are you posting things that are saying that Poeltl this or Poeltl that? These are overreactions. This is one game. And I'll tell you right now, everybody who posted something that's negative about Jakob Poeltl, people that I care about and love, posting bad things about Jakob Poeltl, you're going to look bad for saying this in the first round when we play him and he becomes a huge, important person for helping us. Seriously. The takes on Jakob are really wrong, and they need to stop. I'm sick of this. He's a beloved Raptor. He's somebody that chose our team. He's somebody at a position that nobody wants to play for the Raptors, has actually hold his hand up and said, I'll come play for the Raptors. You don't understand that, casuals and nephews, do you? None of these centers in this league want to come play for the Raptors for some reason, but Yak does, and we should value that. If you don't have Yak, we are in big trouble. Trust me. We've seen that at times. This is what happens with the Tampa season without Yak. So you got to stop. You got to stop. He's not paying attention to y'all. Thank God, because y'all are stupid and you're out of pocket. And honestly, the people that got traded for Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors are getting disrespected in ways that they just don't deserve. And that's DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl. Neither one of those guys deserve the crap that they're hearing these days. Neither one of them. I'm just sick of it. If you're a real fan of the Raptors, you're not coming at Jakob Poeltl. If you're a real fan of the Raptors, you don't write bullshit about DeMar DeRozan's career points accomplishment. You don't write, yeah, but he wasn't that good and stuff like that. No, you don't write that. If you're truly a Raptors fan, if you think you're a Raptors fan and you can talk shit about DeMar DeRozan just because you came to our fan nation after we won the championship, you don't know jack shit about DeMar DeRozan. So you shouldn't be opining about whether he was good or not as a player. You should not be opining. If you're Johnny come lately that came to basketball in the NBA after the Raptors won in 2019, if you came along in the ride as a bandwagoner and that is your first year that you paid attention to basketball, you are not qualified to make any opinions on DeMar DeRozan. It's not as simple as, oh, we traded and we got Kawhi, so DeMar's shitty. No, everybody who's talking shit about DeMar DeRozan right now needs to shut the fuck up. And if you're a Raptors fan or you consider yourself a Raptors fan and you're engaging in that, shame on you. You are not fucking a Raptors fan if you do not stand with DeMar DeRozan. It's just ridiculous. There's a lot of stupid shit out there. And some people are parroting it and pushing it around and saying it also. And I'm like, shut up. Why are you pushing this narrative around even further? What's the point of this? It's not helping the Raptors. It's not going to help Jakob Poeltl. It's not going to help the team in any kind of way. You're letting the haters and the people that hate us try and tear us apart from the middle. So y'all need to shut the fuck up. It's one game. And in some ways, the game last night was a game where we didn't play half our team and we weren't trying to show half of our shit. So in some ways, it's like that game wasn't even a real game last night. Let's just put it that way. Both teams playing with their cards tight to their chest. The Knicks also. They weren't playing certain people on purpose too. And they didn't go to certain people on purpose last night. It was a very heavy dose of Jalen Brunson and a little dash of Cat. But, you didn't see a whole lot of stuff that the Knicks like to do in that game at all. And you didn't see a whole lot of stuff that we like to do either. And it's not like last night was a game that the Raptors were trying to win. So nephews and casuals that are pissed off that we lost the Knicks again, get over yourself. It's obvious that Darko and the Raptors team was not going for the win. So why are y'all all bent out of shape and pointing questions at people this morning? It's stupid. It's stupid. We didn't have two of our starters, and we didn't have our very good rookie last night. And that is on purpose. That's on purpose. In some ways, yeah, it was a back-to-back. We took care of the game we got for sure against Miami. But, Emmanuel's not playing today. RJ, late scratch right before the game. Colin's not playing. His shoulder hurts. How can you judge these two teams to their full extent when this is the way it was? And why would you get so bent out of shape about this game, Raptors fans? Like, haven't you learned that we're going to lose games sometimes to Boston and New York and other teams sometimes? Like, why are you so immature with your reaction at this point? Can you learn from these things over and over again and maybe act better as they go by? Can you show progress? Or no, we're just going to be nephew casuals that act out and crash out on every single L for all kinds of stupid reasons and just say the most toxic, crazy shit all over Raptors fan nation social media. I mean, seriously, you'd think you guys would grow up at some point and maybe start to, oh, you know what? Maybe we don't need to do this. Maybe we could just say, yeah, the Raptors lost and go to bed and go about your life instead of like obsessing about it, making a big deal out of it and going and just dogpiling in comments, all kinds of crazy shit. I'm hurt because the Raptors lost, so I'm lashing out by writing weird things online. And my opinions, they matter. Please hear me. Please hear me. I really hope people see what my comments said so I can be feeling important. This is bullshit. It's bullshit. Y'all are overreacting. And, we're probably likely to play the Knicks in the first round, and it's going to have to be a whole other thing. Now, you're going to overreact about a game that's in the regular season like this last night. Oh, I can only imagine how horrible and childish y'all are going to act in a playoff series, especially if we lose and we fail. Oh, I can't wait to see how stupid Raptors Nation can get on social media and the dumb things they can say. Oh, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so much fun. There's a lot of people out of pocket talking out of their ass, including some jabroni named Carson who's all got stats up his ass. Yeah, some jabroni named Carson who's got stats up his ass. Like, oh, who's this turkey? And DeMar, why do you lower yourself to even talk to this dumbass? Seriously. I mean, I don't even know if DeMar actually did that. In today's day and age, I don't believe half this shit anymore. They showed a clip on Raptors Reddit this week of the championship team and celebrating, and Serge and Kyle and Pascal. And there's a little clip where there's a little thing on the comments saying Terrence Ross saying it should have been me. I don't believe Terrence put that up like that. I think that there's already a real problem with whether things are true or not. And people are putting up fake shit and they're trying to get away with it. And because this world's so cartoony and stupid at this point, with a dumbass criminal in charge of the United States, it's hard to discern what is real and what is not at this point. And I would say Terrence Ross is above posting that should have been me underneath a championship photo. And it's easy for a fan to take Terrence's picture and his handle and just put the thing underneath it and act like he actually said that. I'm pretty sure Terrence wouldn't do that. If he did, well, Terrence, why are you doing that? That's stupid. It wasn't supposed to be you because you weren't on the team that year that won. So don't give me this shit. Even if you were building up to it with DeMar and stuff like that, you were traded like 2 years before the championship. You weren't the year of the championship like Jonas. You weren't the summer before the championship like DeMar. So it's like, I don't believe this shit anymore. Like, even the DeMar comments, I'm like, is this really DeMar replying? Usually he doesn't give a shit about this kind of stuff. Why would DeMar be lowering himself to talk to some analytics idiot named Carson? It just doesn't add up to me because he's above it. Maybe it was infuriating. It's infuriating to us that you have to make your comment about, thinking that it's infuriating that DeMar DeRozan might be top 10 in the all-time scoring list for the NBA. I'm glad people like Josh Lewinberg and other people out there are coming out and saying, yeah, casual, dumbass, you don't get 25,000 points in the NBA by accident, you idiot. Yeah, this controversy that started this week about this is just unnecessary, and it's disrespectful. It's like, could you imagine somebody doing this to Alex English in the 80s or something like that? Like, oh, getting all upset, saying all this bullshit about Alex English. This shit didn't happen then because there's no social media and there's no platform for idiots like Carson to get an audience. Nobody thought this, like, these negative connotations in these negative ways. Nobody was so fucking such an asshole and such a little bitch like Analytics Carson and all these Raptors nephews that are overanalyzing a loss last night. Seriously, it's just a loss. We went to New York, the bright lights, the big city, and Brandon Ingram missed 2 free throws, 4 free throws, 4 free throws in a row. You think that he does that normally? No, that's a very tough environment to play in. It's a very hostile environment, and it's going to only be worse in the playoffs when we go and play then. Trust me. And if it can shake Brandon to the point where he's like missing free throws, you got to understand that is a very tough place to play. I thought in the game, it seemed like with the hang on. I don't want to hear that right now. It's like I should mute this site. You guys post stuff on Discord while I'm talking. It does give me a warning and it's distracting. Just so you know, if you're posting in Discord right now. All right, what was I saying? The thing about it is, like, this will be a very tough series if we have to play New York. But I'm hoping that there's a couple of things that some of our guys will show that they have other levels that they go to in competition because it's the playoffs. Maybe they don't know that yet, and maybe they won't. But maybe some of them do know that, like RJ or Emmanuel or Scotty. I'm also wondering about Darko in this kind of situation as a coach, how he sets up his team and organizes them with game plans and ideas and how creative they are and how well they work to get success for the Raptors in the playoffs. These are things that I'm very curious to see. I would like to see us compete and do very well. But first, we got to, unfortunately, beat the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow for sure to make sure that we do get the 6th seed. Because if we don't, there are possibilities that we end up in the play-in still, but it's very more likely that we will for sure be in the playoffs. We just got to beat the Nets tomorrow at home for sure. And even if we don't beat them, there are ways where we can get there. It depends on Atlanta and Orlando both losing, though. So, we don't, whatever way, we got to control our destiny the way we can. And that means going to beat the Nets tomorrow here in Toronto. We got to do that. Yeah, there's other news today. The Toronto Tempo have signed some of their players as of yesterday, and there was a surprise signing of an all-star, a defensive player that's all defense in the WNBA, a person who has led the WNBA in steals 2 different seasons, and a person who's played in the league for quite a long time and is 32 years old, and that is Brittany Sykes. Brittany Sykes of the Seattle Storm signed a $1 million contract yesterday. The Jersey native joins other Jersey native Marina Mabrey as the first ever WNBA $1 million backcourt. So we got an all-star level caliber player in free agency yesterday for the Tempo. And I watched her highlights and I looked at her a bit. She is very impressive. She's the kind of player that can mix it up with some threes and some aggressive drives and scoring at the basket, with also a very active defender who steals the ball a lot. And she can even go in and block shots. At 5'9", Brittany Sykes, a.k.a. Slim, is quite a force on the court. And she's very athletic. And, I'm excited. I watched some of her clips on YouTube, some interviews with her. Seems like a very well-rounded lady who has a lot of gamemanship and a lot of compete. And I think that also it's telling that Slim has the same agent as Marina Mabrey, and they're coming together as a pair at the same time. And in some ways, they know of each other, and they're very excited to play together. So we've got two Jersey girls as our two top players for this year, it looks like. We'll see if we get another high caliber all-star or free agent still, because there is time today, and there's still dust settling from the WNBA free agency. Brittany Griner late last night signing with Connecticut Sun. So, yeah, there's a lot of different stuff going on. We've had sightings of Toronto Tempo players arriving in Toronto as of yesterday. Niara Sabali touching down wearing a Bordeaux-colored hat and saying she's ready to get to work. I've also seen on Instagram that Nye has showed up here also. Aaliyah Nye of the Las Vegas Aces last year, champion from last year, rookie from last year, has touched down in Toronto and has CN Tower in her Instagram stories this morning. So they're starting to show up. There's not a whole lot of time before, the season. They're going to do this draft on Monday, and that draft pick's going to come straight to Toronto, and they're going to get to work because they're going to need to do training camp very fast to get ready for a preseason game at the end of this month, on the last Wednesday of April. So there's a lot happening right now between the Raptors and the postseason and the Tempo just starting off. Yeah, we've seen some beautiful photos of the locker room that they built for the Toronto Tempo out at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Very, very nice stuff. Seems a little dark in there, but hopefully they can turn the lights up a little bit so people can see. Now, I do want to take a correction. I incorrectly said yesterday that the Tempo had released their court. They have not released their court yet. There is a fan group on Facebook that's called the official Toronto Tempo group, but is not officially run by the team at all. It's just a fan used that word in making the title of the group. So please, if you're online, do not take the official Toronto Tempo group as an official channel for official news from the team. It's going to come from a team account. It won't come from fans. And the thing is, they're putting fan art up on that group, and it's fooling people. And there was a court that was posted earlier this week that was a fan art court that is not the Toronto Tempo court. It is not. I looked at it. The fonts are not correct. It's not well done. It's not professional level, the court. At first look, it looks like it could be the court. And you're just like, oh, that's the court. But if you really look at the details of it, it's not the court for the Tempo. It's not it. And they'll release it officially on Tuesday. If it does look kind of like that court, well, I'll be like, wow, okay, maybe that was that court. But I don't think it will be. I think the court's going to be a lot more simple. I don't think it's going to have that skyline on it. I think that skyline is not the way that the court will be designed. Yeah, so be careful of that. In this day and age of misinformation, we really do need to check our sources and understand where the information is coming from and whether we should believe it or not. Because there's so much more fake shit coming. And if we don't have critical thoughts about what is real and what isn't, well, you're just perpetrating fake news and false stuff. And we can't have that. I mean, I'm serious. It's going to be a huge epidemic, a problem, because there's going to be a lot of people believing things that just aren't true because they're put out in the mainstream media. And we need to be very careful. We need to think very, very hard about what is true. Seriously, more than ever. Like, it's so important. You have to be vigilant about this. All right, let's see what Trevor's saying here. His words of wisdom is, when people are intimidated by your strength and happiness, they will try to tear you down and break your spirit. Remember, it's a reflection of their weaknesses and not a reflection of yours. The thing about the people who get targeted on our team, it's more often because they're people that are very happy on our team, and we're very happy to have them on our team, whether it's RJ, whether it's Darko, whether it's Scotty, whether it's Yak, whether it's Emmanuel. This is just the playbook of hater nations that hate us. They hate the whole idea that Jakob has been on our team twice, that he's chose us. When anybody ever chooses us and says they love our city, they love our team, our haters come in full force with negative campaigns against these people. It's happened to RJ. It's happened to Jakob. It's happened to Pascal in the past. It's happened to Fred in the past. Whenever somebody says something about Toronto, it's like, I love being in Toronto. I want to be here. There's fan nations and other nations like the one we played last night that will make up shit, that will come into our spaces and act like they're Raptors fans and write all this negative shit about our players. And then our casual fans that aren't paying attention or not really dutifully on the side of the Raptors will chime in and get in the middle of it. It's so stupid. I'm sick of it. I kind of hate this day and age with technology that it's come to at this point with fucking social media and all this bullshit. I'm more and more turned off by it as I get older. And the more I move away from it, the more I pay less attention to it. The more I get away from it, just as I get older. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, it's like this for the Raptors at times. We have good things going. We have a lot of success. And there is a mental information war in the NBA to try and put people down or mess people up. And that's why Darko has the circle of trust. That's why Darko says, hey, look, we don't listen to anybody except for ourselves. We listen to our own coaches. We listen to our teammates. We listen to people that are involved in the organization that have something to do with things. But we don't listen to anybody else. We don't listen to anybody online. We don't listen to this. We don't listen to that. Because there really is a weaponization. It's a propaganda war. And in some ways, this is politically done too. It's like the same machinations are done in the political world as they are done in the sports world. And, they'll put all kinds of misinformation out there to change minds and make perceptions and all this kind of stuff. And we need to be aware of this. This world is full of this right now. And it's there's a lot of bullshit out there. And, you want to believe that Jakob's horrible as a player for the Raptors? Well, I don't like you because he's not. He's very, very good. It's just that he can't be perfect all the time. And, he's also still dealing with his back on the down low. And there may be times where he's looking a lot more lithe and getting around. And then there may be times where he looks a little bit slower. But that, in some ways, it has to do sometimes maybe with how his back's feeling in that moment. He can be very quick to the spot and getting around. And I'm sick of all the bullshit. And shame on people that are pushing stuff that's anything negative about Yak this morning. Seriously. Shame on them. They shouldn't be talking about him like that. Seriously. There's a lot of dumb people saying dumb things about Jakob Poeltl right now. And it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Trevor's saying this. Raptors dropped the ball in New York to no fight. It was like the basketball was too hot to hold on to. I'm not blaming them. I'm not mad at them like I was for Boston. I'm not mad at them. I'm not going to do a thing like I did on Monday against them. This was a setup in some ways. The setup by themselves to a degree to not try to win. They weren't trying to win. Let's just put it that way. If they were trying to win, RJ, Emmanuel, and Colin would be on the court, Trevor. They weren't trying to win. So why is everybody so upset about not winning this game? I don't care that we didn't win this game last night. I said it would be nice, from the beginning of the year when I looked at the schedule. Oh, that last New York game at the end of the year is a trap game. They don't want us to win that game, obviously, because they put us on a back-to-back where we have to travel to New York. I mean, even just having that without even knowing the playoff implications and all these other things and stuff like that, I had penciled in that game as a loss at the very beginning of the year because of the diabolical schedule makers. Why are we upset about this, Raptors fans? The NBA set us up to lose to New York all season. They wanted us to lose to them 5-0. They wanted us to lose to them. They set us up for it all year with diabolical schedule, bad refereeing, and all kinds of different hidden advantages. Last night in the first quarter, I was starting to think that there really is some truth to magnets or little fans inside the rim. There were so many good shots that we shot that should have fell in, but they just kind of out. Like, do they have a contraption in NBA rims that's like a little fan, like one in an airplane that you can turn and turn off and shoot at your head? And I'm too hot, honey. Do you mind if I turn this on? No, honey, go ahead. And turn it. Oh, yeah. Make sure you're shooting it at yourself. I don't want it on me. All right, I'll move it. Do they have those little kind of jet airs inside the rim and they're pointing up somehow, some way? Because sometimes I see funny stuff with NBA rims that are rejecting shots. Like they cough them back out. Like a frog ate something on the side of a pond. Like they shoot it back out because it's not right. And they shouldn't have ate it. Oh, that wasn't a fly. That's gross. Is there that kind of technology on the down low around the NBA? Because I feel like sometimes we've said that, it feels like there's magnets in the rim. Oh, it feels like there's something. I was thinking like there's a jet. Because like what happens is the ball will go into the cylinder and it'll look like it's about to drop, but it'll shoot back out and fall out the other way. Do you think that the NBA has this secret technology at this point to try and screw up the games and hurt one team from making shots by having like secret air jets in the rim so that it'll shoot good shots out and they'll miss? I mean, does that sound crazy? Yeah, maybe it does. But I've seen games where inexplicably nothing will fall into the hoop. And there's weird, like, it's like magnets are pushing it out. Like a magnetic force is pushed the ball out of the cylinder. It should just drop in, but it pushes it out. And it's not just the basketball gods and saying, oh, the basketball gods are on our side. Shots aren't dropping. Some of it just looks so consistent. And for like a quarter, you'll see, oh, wow. Why did that free throw go and then jump right out? At the beginning of the game, Brandon shot a lot of good shots, but he didn't make any of them, did he? No. Some of them were money right on in the cylinder. Oh, right back out. Could be what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I like to think of ideas that could be possible to reason why some stuff happens. I mean, could they make these little air jets and be shooting basketball shots out on certain goals? Or is it a magnet system or something like that? We've wondered about this. I brought this up in the past, and Stargate has said, yeah, it seems like there's something weird with the rim. And the rim is rejecting shots and the ball out of it. It seemed like that at the beginning of the game last night with the Raptors starting so flat that we had one of those rejector rims because we were shooting well. The shots were on point. They were on target. They were just not going down. They were jumping back out. Yeah. Another thing we got to watch about in the day of parlays in sports betting is who's winning after the first quarter. There's such fishy stuff. In some ways, the referees are driving the game like a chauffeur. And they're kind of driving the game. And, well, they may have to hit certain score things for parlays and money makers. When we play the Knicks or the Celtics, I always want to be beating them at the end of the first quarter because I know most of the fans of those teams, if they are degenerate gamblers and they're betting on their own team, they're going to bet that their team's ahead at the end of the first quarter. So I always root for the Raptors to have the lead at the end of the first quarter. And Scotty, if you're listening to me, you should take this to heart. You should try and be winning at the end of first quarters because you're going to wreck the opposing team's fans that put parlays on their team egotistically to be ahead at the first quarter. And I'm always paying attention at the score at the end of the first quarter because this is a very heavy place where people bet. I mean, some degenerates bet on whether they win the jump ball or not. And, well, the refs are aware of this. The refs will do weird things with calls near the end of quarters to try and get the margin right for certain betting ideas. And usually it's something like, well, this team needs to be winning at the end of the first so that all these parlays hit. Think about it. This is the whole dubiousness of the league that you bring in, Adam Silver, with opening the floodgates on legalized gambling. Is that, I could speculate that the refs could be in shenanigans with betting people, that they have to make sure that the scores are a certain way after certain quarters so that parlays hit in certain ways. If the Raptors are winning at the end of the first quarter against the Celtics or the Knicks, I wonder if anybody actually bet on that and they made a huge amount of money, stuff like that. You shouldn't even let this door of dubiousness be open. Seriously, it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah. You say the basketball wouldn't go in? Well, what were there jets, Trevor? Was there magnets? It's fishy to me because it's like, look, they can't be that bad at shooting. where the Brandon Ingram's missing 4 free throws and they're rimming out all kinds of weird ways. Something's going on there. It's like it's manipulated. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, Trevor's saying tempo dropped their locker room and gym photos yesterday. It's very beautiful. Yeah, you like it? You like it? Man, in some ways, I guess I'm a cynic. I think it's too dark. I think it's too dark in there. I think they need it to be more lit up. Maybe they can bring the lights up and it'll look better. But it looks too dark in there. It looks too cavey. And in some ways, I can't help but be honest. Like if you sent me a trophy that was ass the other day, I would have said it. I would say, "Dad, this trophy's ass." But no, that's a great trophy. In some ways, I don't like their locker room. I don't like their locker room, and I don't like the look of it. They say it's top class and it's really great and all this, but honestly, it's not. It's not. It's fine. It's fine for a first year for the Temple, but they're gonna have to upgrade that. That's not the best. They're saying it's the best, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It looks nice, but in some ways it's very shallow nice. It's not. You can look at those chairs that they put in the locker room. And I'm like, those are the nicest chairs they could get. They look like office chairs that somebody just have at a regular office. So I'm gonna disagree with you, Trevor. I don't think that the locker room looks that great to me personally, but you can think it's beautiful yourself. That's fine. That's fine. We all can have different opinions. Trevor J saying that Greensboro Swarm are the G League champions. Okay, so they beat Stockton Kings. That was the big matchup. Was Greensboro Swarm. Liam McNeely and PJ Hall winning the G League championship with the Greensboro Swarm. That's annoying. You know why? Because we beat them every single time we played them pretty much this year. Seriously. I'm pretty sure we did. There were 2 games we played against them. I think we split in the regular season, and then we swept them in the tip-off tournament. We definitely beat them twice in the fall because we were undefeated in that part of the season. But I think we split when they came to 905 earlier this like a month or so ago. Yeah, there was one game that they beat us and one game that we beat them. So that's annoying. I mean, they weren't the best G League team that we saw this year either. Like all the teams that we played this year, Greensboro Swarm were not the best team. There were other teams that were better to me and personally, But hey, congratulations to them. They got their G League championship. Liam McNeely and PJ Hall. Let's see. Thanks for bringing that up too. I didn't know that. Thank you, Trevor. I did not see that they had won. Jimmy's saying this. As soon as I saw who was sitting, I knew it was going to be a very hard game to win. Yeah, that's the tough thing. Like, of course, in the early morning, we had a clean bill of health, and it didn't look like anybody we were going to be full strength. And I was really hoping that would be true, Jimmy. But then we heard late afternoon that Trace is out because he's sick, Collins out because of his shoulder, and IQ's foot is really bad. Josh Lewinberg saying that after the Miami game on Thursday night, Lewinberg said that he saw IQ and he was obviously in severe pain, that he was not walking on his foot right at all. So that if he had wanted to play last night against the Knicks, I don't think he could have physically because he was in that much pain. So IQ was definitely not going to play. And then we're getting close to the game and they scratch RJ. And I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be a night where we beat them. Jimmy felt that right then, and I felt it too. In some ways, it's like they were punting the game. And in some ways, I get it. I mean, there's a lot of talk last night in our Discord saying, Darko's holding his cards. He's not showing the best stuff because he knows we're probably going to have to play them in the first round. And that's what nephews and casuals need to understand. Last night was not a go all out night. In fact, the score reflected it. It was very much an Eastern Conference slog. Very much a low scoring, defensive oriented kind of game. And this series could very well be very much like that if we played them in the first round. But we have to understand that, that we weren't trying all out, and neither were the Knicks. There was a very subdued kind of thing about the game last night. We weren't showing our best stuff. In some ways, you're playing a team that you're probably going to have to play next week in a 7-game series. And in some ways, you don't want to give them an early scout and tape to study for the week, right? You're going to probably maybe even put decoy plays out there. And some of the stuff they did last night may have been kind of like, yeah, we're going to do something the opposite of what we really want to do, just so that y'all can't see what we're going to do and you can practice against it. There's a lot of chess in this. There's a lot of competitive kind of ideas and how we should do things to try and make things easier or better for us to be successful. It's that kind of stuff, man. Yeah, Jimmy's saying pretty sure we still have avenue to get that 5 seed, but we got to rely on others losing. Yeah, there is a path to this, but Atlanta has to definitely lose and we have to win. Those are two things that definitely have to happen for that to happen. Atlanta has to lose and we have to win. And I think also in some weird way, Orlando has to lose also for us to get the 5th seed. I don't know. I feel like we would be in the 5th seed just with Atlanta losing and us winning. Because if we have the same record as Atlanta, we beat them with the tiebreaker and we're in the 5th seed. So in some ways, we can hope and pray that that happens. But it's very high percentage that we're probably going to play the Knicks. It's a very, very high percentage chance that we're probably going to play the Knicks. Kaloy saying this, I'm choosing to believe that Darko has a plan for New York's size. I know you kept saying this about their size in the Discord. I'm like, what is he talking about? Their size, their size. Look, just because they have a couple big dummies on their bench and Hukaporti and Diwara, of course we have a plan for the size. Kaloy, come on, man. Don't nephew out. We have Colin. Colin didn't play last night. We also have Yak when he's more like rested and playing full out. He wasn't playing full out. That's part of the thing that people don't realize about last night. In some ways, Jakob was not playing to his full capability last night. That was obvious. And that's why people are dumping on him and saying he's worthless and we got to get rid of him this summer and all this kind of dumb stuff. I'm telling you, there was a lot of not trying as hard as we could in this game last night for competitive reasons. I know some people say, why did they do that? Why were they not trying this game? Well, because of what I said, that they're trying not to show their best hand. They're trying to keep some things proprietary because this game in the long scheme of things doesn't really matter. But a game in the playoffs starting next week will. So, you got to think about this, man. There's all kinds of reasons for this. And we're going to see next week, hopefully, and hopefully we'll have very good success because we have done this. Hopefully we'll see. Yeah, why are you worried about their size? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of yak hate in Reddit this morning. That's why I started with what I was saying. And that's why I'm disappointed in anybody who's talking negatively about yak this morning. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. Very disappointed in the anti-yak stuff. Yeah. We have a plan, I'm sure. And whether it works or not, Chloe, that's another story. But we'll just have to see what we do. We are only fans. Once again, we can't get so wrapped up into it and how we feel about ourselves that is tied into it. We need to just enjoy and watch and go along for the ride and understand the journey to get to the next Larry O'Brien is not a straight, easy street kind of path. There's a hard, wrought path with failure and problems and disappointment that gets to, but ultimately to the ultimate success. And none of this is easy. There's this kind of stuff in the path to the first championship, but all the casuals who showed up just to be in the easy part don't understand all the difficult part in the years before. And that's the thing. That's the thing. People think it's just microwaved and easy. Well, I just want to go along for the ride and be a fan and know my role, jabroni. And that's just to be a fan. I can't control this. I'm not the GM. I'm not the coach. And y'all should just be watching as spectators and stop acting like you're a participant. Stop acting like you're a participant. Seriously. Smooth's here. Good morning, Smooth. I hope you had a good birthday yesterday. Knicks have a lot of pressure on them to win. Yeah, they do. And they run a pretty tight ship. They have interesting ways they do things, but I still see the cracks. I still see the weaknesses. I still see the places where we can mess them up. They were heavily reliant on Jalen Brunson last night. They did a lot of work with him dribbling in and creating space and getting these little mid-range shots. It's very similar to Pritchard for the Celtics. It's like this is a thing that we need to figure out is these point guards for the Celtics and the Knicks that dribble in, use their strength to push off and get a little space, and then they make these little fadeaways over us. That's been like the bread and butter Raptor killer this year from both the Knicks and the Celtics. That Jalen Brunson, very skilled at this. Very good at taking shed inside, bumping him off a little bit and then fading back and hitting that shot just over people. And he does it not just to our guards. He can do it to bigger defenders too by making the angle adjusting. And he's money like this. This is what he practiced. This is the thing that his dad yelled at him for years on how to get better and do. So, that's something that we need to figure out, because a lot of their offense yesterday was really Jalen Brunson making these crazy shots over our defenders by just getting a little bit of space. How do we game for that, Darko? How do we game plan our defense to try and stop Jalen Brunson from making these little fadeaway shots? That's probably the first thing we need to figure out in some ways, to have a antidote for that. Cat mixed in a little bit of good stuff too in there, but mostly the Knicks were not that good overall as a team. There was like two guys who were kind of carrying them throughout the game, and that was Brunson and Cat. OG was a non-factor. In fact, OG got hurt and had to leave and didn't play in the second half. And that matchup, Scotty versus OG, is fun to watch. But in some ways, I realized that when Barnes is against Anunoby, they kind of cancel each other out, and neither one of them is going to do anything on the court for their team. Some ways, OG will OG-itis Scotty, and Scotty will Barnes-itis OG. And neither one of them will get a whole lot of good looks or do a whole lot of good stuff because they're just tying each other up. And that's fun because they want to do that. They're good friends and they love playing each other. And there's a lot of shit talk too when they're out there doing that. I mean, I think OG beat Scott once and only scored once, but otherwise, he wasn't out there that long. And I think that was working really hard against Barnes in that first half is part of the reason why OG didn't come back. Also, we don't know how hurt OG actually was. This could have been also another place where Mike Brown was pulling a card close to his chest and holding his cards close to his chest by benching OG for the second half. They saw, Emmanuel and RJ aren't even playing. Maybe I'll just play OG half a game. So let's see. Chloe's saying, I'm hoping Yak was playing possum last night. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's look at it this way. He's not supposed to have been playing back-to-backs for a long time. He didn't play back-to-backs all year. In some ways, he wasn't feeling that great about his back, right? So we were saving him. And that's why I was kind of saying, if we're going to sit people between the Knicks game and the last Miami game, let's sit them on the Miami game because we seem like we have their number and we can beat them. And let's have our best guys fresh against the Knicks on Friday night. So when Yak and Emmanuel played against Miami on Thursday, I was like, well, what's this going to mean for tomorrow? And I mean, we got to remember, just like 2 weeks ago, Yak wasn't doing back-to-backs, and he played in a back-to-back last night, his second time doing a back-to-back in the last 2 weeks. So it's like, and even in those games that he played in the back-to-back, he played less minutes in both the games. We didn't play him a big chunk of the game last night too. So I don't know. Everybody wants somebody to point fingers at, and Yak's the easy target. Sometimes he does boneheaded plays on the court where he loses the ball. Like we do a really good job, and then he hits the ball out of bounds, and New York gets possession back. People are counting score on that and hating him for dumb stuff like that. Man, we're all human. We make mistakes. And if you played in the NBA, you probably fucking turned the ball over every time you touched it. So don't give me this shit. Judging Yak on just maybe clumsy mistake here or there. That's the stuff that really turns people against him, is because he can have a very ugly turnover or something dumb that happens because he is clumsy at times. And they just turn on him because, oh, you did this. That's so easy, you big dummy. If I was out there, I could have done that better than you, Yak. That's the mentality of some of these casuals and idiots who have no idea the true size, speed, and strength of the NBA. And you couldn't do jack shit out there. Don't give me this crap. You said, oh, I could have done that. I could have caught that. Bullshit. You don't know anything about the NBA. You don't play in the NBA. So you don't know how hard it is, what he's doing out there. So I'm just saying there's a lot more to this than just saying, oh, he made a clumsy mistake. Big guys will make clumsy, dumb mistakes sometimes. And honestly, his percentage of making bad turnovers and mistakes is not very high considering it all. Seriously, if you really look at it. But he has a couple of dumb, glaring mistakes in the game, and every nephew's falling out about it and making score and writing it down. Oh, this ball went out of bounds on Yak's hands at this point when he could have just grabbed it, and Curtis Blair didn't give it to them, even though Yak was trying to say that the other team hit it out. There were a couple calls like that. That call where they called it out on Scott, but it looked like it was out more on Josh Hart that hit off hands, and New York challenged it. And the New York announcers are bragging that the Knicks are the best at challenges in the league with their percentage. Yeah, you know why? Because you're in the NBA head office city. And honestly, the challenges are convoluted ass things anyway. They can verify or rectify or support any kind of stance on whatever they rule. They just have to make up the political bullshit for the reasoning for why they said it. And so the Knicks having one of the best challenge call percentages isn't a thing to brag about. It's the NBA fudging things with their rules to help y'all and give you whatever you want. That out of bounds call that they called was actually out on you guys. You hit that ball out because the man hit it up. He hit it up in the air and it lofted out. Scotty didn't touch it last. But alas, you guys won that challenge and say, yeah, it's New York ball, even though y'all hit it out. We didn't hit it out. But, the replay center, they'll figure out some sort of makeup excuse. Yeah, it's off Barnes's fingertip. It's not actually off of Josh Hart. That bullshit. That's why their success ratio is so good, because the NBA is just waiting and salivating to help you guys out and make reasonings for why they'll give you a call. Yeah, I don't go ahead and brag about being one of the best challenge teams in the league. That shit was designed to help you guys get favor in certain situations when you want your get out of jail card free. Yeah. Oh, wait, referee. Sorry, but we want to use our little pass for this call. You're going to give us the call no matter what, and this is the one we wanted on. Okay, I'll go and talk to them in New Jersey, and they'll give me the reasoning for supporting this call for you guys. All right, Curtis Blair, go talk to New Jersey and get them to tell you what it is. Sean Corbin, Benny and Maru, both of them very, very tough and tight with the whistle in dumbass ways last night. The referees were calling it erratically in weird places. They wouldn't call any contact for a while, and then it's red light, green light. It's like, okay, this part of the game, we're going to let them play. There's going to be physicality on rebounds. There's going to be physicality on going to the basket. No, you guys just got to be tough, execute through the contact. And then, whoa, touch fouls here, touch fouls here, touch fouls here, touch fouls here. And then, whoa, wait, we're not going to call them anymore. It's like red light, green light with the whistle. Sometimes they'll call stuff, be real touchy. Sometimes they won't call jack shit. That's very manipulative. And they change and switch it and without any warning. You don't know when they're going to go to touchy fouls and to no calls. You don't know when they're going to switch. They don't warn you. They don't tell you when they're going to switch. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Deep State Adversary, 8291. Knicks fan here. Sorry, bros. Okay. Thanks for the subscription. And he's saying, why is it that every time the Knicks play the Raptors, RJ and Quickly don't play? Are they afraid? Yeah, I listen, there's some truth to this, and I'm kind of annoyed with it, honestly. Now, there's been legitimate injuries in the last few years for both these guys at times, but it does seem like it lines up really kind of fishy. I'm not going to lie. I want to believe that RJ and Emmanuel have some get up to come at their former team. Because, a lot of people do usually. But, in some ways, the trade from New York to Toronto is not one where they were like having bad feelings towards New York. So, obviously, they have a lot of friends still in New York. I know that Emmanuel and RJ have a lot of friends still on the team. It's obvious after the game when RJ talking to Josh Hart and different other Knicks after the game, Jalen Brunson. I don't know. This is pissing me off. And there's some teeth to what you're saying. I want them to show up healthy and, change that narrative in a playoff series. But yeah, I have wondered about why they're ducking you guys, because it's kind of annoying. OG ducked us a couple times too, initially after the trade. There was a couple times when we played the Knicks after the trade and OG wasn't available. And he didn't play against the Raptors for a while immediately after the trade happened. Now, I think in some ways this is timing. It's very evident that Emmanuel has a very bad plantar fasciitis right now. And like they said, after the game against Miami on Thursday night, he couldn't walk. So he has a valid excuse. The thing with Barrett, though, is annoying, though, because he was supposed to be playing last night, but it did feel like he was ducking y'all. I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be lying here. I'm honest. In some ways, you know what? I say that deep state adversary. I hope you're against the deep state called Trump. Yeah, let's go fuck up Trump, my guy. I can get solidarity with Knicks Nation on that. So go fuck up Trump. See, please, Americans and New Yorkers, stop resting on your laurels. Business is not as usual in the United States. You have a deranged madman at the wheel, and y'all need to kick him out of the driver's seat as soon as possible and stop starting all these unjust wars and doing all this crazy shit that y'all are fucking doing right now. Because listen, y'all aren't the leader of the free world anymore. You're just Russia number 2 at this point. And Canada is actually the leader of the free world now because Mark Carney is acting like a true leader. And Trump is a pedophile rapist that needs to be in jail. And he's a war criminal at this point, too. So, yeah, get your country in straight up, man. Come on now, deep state. Get your work done and get this stuff over. The nightmare of the United States right now is messed up. And y'all need to fix it. Seriously. There's more important things than Knicks basketball right now, my guy. And y'all need to hit the streets more and more and get that motherfucker out. Seriously. Seriously. We're all dependent on y'all. We can try and help from the outside only so much by boycotting American goods. But y'all need to be doing the work inside. Seriously. Because this shit ain't going to change unless y'all take it back. You got to do some Rage Against the Machine shit here. Seriously. Seriously, Jimmy's saying injuries. Yeah, injuries. Injuries is the official reason, but I don't want to think that RJ's ducking. I don't think Emmanuel is. I think that Emmanuel has shown up and played against the Knicks when he could, but I worry about RJ. We'll just have to see. You know, if we do get y'all in the first round, I don't want to see these guys miss games. Let's just put it that way. Uji Bougie saying this, hopeful for a win Sunday, then a week of rest and fine-tuning for our squad to come back and show a full team effort versus the Knicks in the playoffs. That's right. That's right. And that's all we can do. You know, if we don't beat the Knicks, that's not the end of the world. In some ways, we have nothing to lose, and they have everything to lose because they're expected to beat us. They're expected to be championship or bust. And if Brandon can find levels of Kawhi, you guys might be in trouble. Because he can show this kind of stuff and be the best player on the court if he wants to be and he's able to be. Y'all may hit him with dirty shots. Josh Hart may play really dirty on his former Pelicans teammate and hold him up in certain ways that are dirty. But maybe we're going to figure out an ingenious scheme to get Brandon free, and Brandon will get hot. He'll find his rhythm, and we'll fuck y'all up. We're a lot more dangerous than our record against you guys. So just be careful today. And I see Milbesters here. Be careful of the checks you write with your mouth this week, Knicks fans, because in some ways, y'all have a bad history of getting all big in your britches too early and still flaming out and failing before you actually get the job done. So I would just caution y'all. Once again, I'll remind you too. You know, I've got a T-shirt on underneath my jacket right here that says Toronto Raptors NBA champions. And this happened in the last 10 years. Y'all have not won in my lifetime, and I'm 50 years old. So be careful with shit talking because I can remind y'all real quick who's won the last time and when the last time y'all fucking got it done. So, yeah, seriously, y'all may be closer to it right now, but don't get it twisted. You guys give yourself bad karma because y'all get all uppity and all tough and badass like y'all this, and y'all shoot yourself in the foot because you get too cocky. So I would give a word of caution to Knicks Nation that, you know what, be good winners. Just keep your shit to yourself. And if you're quiet enough and you're able to do this in a classy way, who knows? Maybe you will get rewarded by the basketball gods and you will find success this year. But every time y'all have derailed yourself, it's because you shot yourself in the foot, getting too cocky and getting too, this, all that. You know, basketball guys don't like that shit. And you'll find a failure if you continue with that kind of energy. Seriously. So tread lightly. That's what I'd say right now. And go ahead and disrespect us now. Go ahead and look down on us. Go ahead and think we're not a real threat. Go ahead and make that mistake. I'd love for you to do that. Yeah, I'd love for you to do that. Milbester's saying, Okay, Milbester, Randolph's here saying, blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. You can only control that which is within your control. Fate will fully control, direct, and guide you to your destiny, allowing you to live the life God created. You know, it's weird how Things in your life will nudge you into the path in weird, natural ways you are inexplicable. You're just like, whoa, this is just feels like it was meant to be. Maybe it's somebody who crosses your path and they have an interest and they reveal the interest to you, and all of a sudden you just take to it. You're like, whoa, this is interesting. You know, everybody comes into your life for a reason. Either it's a lesson or a blessing. And sometimes that lesson is a short lesson and they're gone. And thank goodness, because you didn't want to be around them that much anymore anyway. But yeah, it's interesting how we can naturally gravitate towards paths and things in our lives, partly because of what we enjoy and what we're attracted to. And it becomes what we're supposed to be doing. And I appreciate that. Blessings to Randolph Phillips and the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. I like that. I like that. Fiercey's here. Good morning to MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Saturday at Deep State. IQ has played on some occurrences against the Knicks. Yeah, they played against y'all. Both of them have played against y'all. But, he's got a valid concern. He's like, are they ducking them? Were they ducking them? Or was this done on purpose by Darko? Like I said, holding the cards to the chest, not showing their whole thing, not showing exactly what they're going to do. You don't play IQ and RJ. You're not showing our offense. You're not showing our offense because those two guys in some ways are very important to our offense. So you're not showing the full complement. You're not showing the full team. In some ways, I don't even remember, but I think most of the games we played against the Knicks, we've had at least one or two starters missing each of the 5 times we played them. Each of the 5 times we played, we had one or the two of the starters missing. Jakob missed a bunch of Knicks games this year, So we got different people that are missing games at times. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's see. All right. Milbester saying, we ready. Okay, you ready. All right. Now, tread lightly, Milbester. I don't ever like cocky Milbester coming in and talking shit to me. And, this may be the day, finally, that you go too far. So let's watch out. Let's watch out. And you may want to edit your answers or your comments and see if they're going to make you step in doo-doo on the Raptors Freak channel. Because remember, this is the Raptors Freak channel. This isn't a Knicks Freak. We got to remind you that all the time. Kaloy's saying this. I wonder how long is the Knicks championship window after they fail this year. That's what I'm saying. We can pile on you guys real fast. Y'all are going to hell alone just for Walt Frazier making that Iran joke the other day. Y'all are going to hell just for that. The hundreds of thousands of souls being released unjustly into the spirit world by American bombs and Israeli bombs. People that are in Iran are coming to haunt Walt Clyde Frazier for the rest of his life, because he said some very out-of-pocket shit about the Chicago Bulls a couple of weeks ago in the last 2 weeks. And honestly, those spirits are coming for him. He shouldn't have said that stuff. You don't mess with stuff like this, like genocide and war crimes and bombing innocent civilians, women and children, elderly, disabled Iranians that didn't ask for anything, didn't do anything wrong, and they're innocently getting bombed out. And Walt Frazier is going to make a joke like the Bulls are like Iran. They're all bombed out. Bro, that is not sensitive to the current affairs of the world right now. There are people losing their lives over there unjustly by a madman like Putin named Trump, who's absolutely a doppelganger of Trump and Putin are the same person at this point. And Americans don't understand that already. Some people still think he's a real president. And he's a regal and good person. No, that motherfucker is American Trump. Trump is American Putin. He's Putin. And that's the thing. Walt Frazier, that unclassy joke that you made on your broadcast about the Bulls being bombed out like Iran right now, that you're going to hell for that. And you will have hundreds of thousands of Iranian souls coming at you and tormenting you through the spiritual realm just because you said that. Just because you said that. They're going to hear you on the broadcast. And that energy's coming for you, Walt Frazier. You didn't deserve it because you shouldn't have said it. You're a nice guy. I actually like you. I respect your career. And you being a Knicks champion, one of the very few. Why did you do that? Why did you say that? You're fucked now. You're fucked. There's so many spirits that are just trapped in the world in between now, and they're coming to see you now, Frazier. You're an idiot. You're an idiot for saying that. It's so dumb, man. So dumb. Yeah, let's see. Milbester saying, shocked the Raptors lost by 20 to us. What happened, Lex? That's not how much y'all beat us by. You didn't beat us by 20, motherfucker. You beat us by 17. So don't even give me that shit saying you beat us by 20. That's bullshit, man. Fuck you, Milbester. I'll say that. He's saying I peaked the game a bit last night, but I was watching the Yankees Rays game. Okay, so you didn't watch the game. You have nothing to fucking say in this chat then. If you watched baseball last night, why are you in my basketball channel? I don't want to hear your shit. All right. Let's see. Our window is still another 5 years. Motherfucker, you haven't won in 50 years. So don't give me this shit. The joke is that if you win this year, how long are you going to have to wait for your next one after this? It may actually be fucking another 100 years or something like that. That's what he's saying right there. That's what he's saying. Brunson and Hart Bridges are staying for a long time because they're Villanova pals. Man, that's not what I heard. Brunson said he's done being on the cheap and taking the discount after this one, and he wants to get paid on the next one. So you go ahead and figure out your salary cap when all of a sudden the guy who said he was taking a discount to help y'all win wants to get fully paid. So yeah, whatever, man. See, Kaloy, listen, this is not Knicks Freak. I'm going to tell this right now. 5 years, that's right. Doubt that. Exactly. Uzi Bougie saying this. I hope everyone is having a good start to the weekend. Loving this beautiful sunny day here in West Gray. Hope to get out and shoot some hoops soon enough when the warmth aligns with the sun. You can get out there still. You know, Magic Johnson, he'd shoot 365 days a year when he was growing up in Chicago and around Michigan. He was playing all the time, man. He was all the time playing. And it didn't matter what the weather was outside. He played in the snow. So yeah, you can get out there still. It's nice enough out there to play right now. You just got to put on a sweater and be out there. I love playing in the fall, and when it's cold, sometimes that's the best time to play. Seriously. I'm getting out in the yard to garden today. I'm going to put in a good 6 hours of yard work today after I get done with this. I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff. I have a list of things that I'm going to try and accomplish today. And it's fun. It's a lot of stuff that I'm really looking forward to do. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, very hard work. But I'm very, very much excited to get out in the yard, get in the sunshine, get in the sand, soil, and get gardening and get set up. I'm going to be hauling wood chips. I'm going to be doing all kinds of stuff today. I'm all about it. Jimmy's saying, just hope the guys are as healthy as they can be for the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's why we got to win tomorrow so that we don't have to play at all in the middle of the week and a play-in. And we can get a rest for 4 or 5 days before a playoff series starts on Saturday or something. That it'll probably start on Saturday is when we probably have to play that first one. Yeah, Milbester's talking about Dante DiVincenzo. I don't give a shit. Fuck all that shit. Who cares, Milbester? Fuck you. Jimmy's saying, bro, why are you even here? Yeah, I know. Why are you even here, man? Well, I'd rather face the Raptors in the first round. Yeah. We know. Let's see. Deep State saying, seems like a very important game for the Raptors to not try. No, listen. The thing is that they calculated that after we beat Miami twice, that we only needed to win one of the games between you and Brooklyn. And we got Brooklyn at home tomorrow. So, the other thing is, once again, I'll say this is a devious schedule where, we've had to face you guys on the second night of a back-to-back 2 or 3 times this year. It's absolute horse crap. There's all kinds of favoritism and privilege that the Knicks get. And they set you guys up for success against us. Then some of it is the diabolical schedule makers. Like I said, they had us play the Miami Heat on Thursday night, get on a plane and fly to New York and play you guys on Friday night. In some ways, that's the diabolical schedule makers. Getting a little advantage for y'all. Yeah, sure, you played the Celtics the night before, but you didn't travel. You played both games in Madison Square Garden. So don't give me this crap, man. Don't give me this crap. Milbester's saying, why am I here? Because we smoked the Raptors last night. Oh, you're out, man. You know what? I might be done with you, Milbuster. Actually, I might be done. I'm just sick of your crap for years now. Years now. Yeah, you're hidden. You can maybe try and come back. Nah, we're done with you, man. You wasted our time for too long. Seriously. Deep State saying, I'll keep Deep State for right now. We'll trade you. How about that? We're trading Milbester today, guys. We're going to trade Milbester for Deep State adversary. He's our new Knicks fan that we allow on the channel. But Milbester, you're done, man. You shouldn't have come in here. You should be here every day hanging out with us. And when we lose to y'all, you want to come in here and rub it in? No, fuck you. You're out, bro. You're out, Milbester. You're never coming back to the Raptors channel. I just kicked you out for good, just so you know that. You know that, Milbester. So, you should try to be a better winner and not try and come in here and be all cocky. Seriously. Deep State saying, what's the scenarios heading into the final game? Well, it's basically like this. We control our own destiny. If we beat The Brooklyn Nets tomorrow, we have that 6th spot in the playoffs, and we're not in the play-in. Now, if Atlanta loses tomorrow too, we get the 5th spot, and we move into the 5th spot, and we'll be playing the 4th seed. So as it is, you guys are in the 3rd seed. It's likely that you're going to stay there. We're sitting across from you guys, and we'll probably play you in the first round. But the only thing that really needs to happen for us to be in that 6th seed is we have to beat the Nets. And it doesn't matter what the Sixers or the Magic or they do. If we just beat the Nets tomorrow, we've got that 6 spots for sure. Now, if the Hawks lose too, then we move up to the 5th spot because we have a tiebreaker with the Hawks. We swept them for the season. We beat the Hawks every single game this year. And so if we tie with the Hawks in the regular season record, we'll be in that 5th spot instead of the 6th. So that's kind of why it didn't matter. I wanted to beat y'all. I wanted them to come in with the full complement and try really hard. But alas, I'm not the coach, and I don't make the decisions for the Raptors. I really did want to come in full strength and try and beat you guys and not get swept for the season, for sure. But it's not up to us. We're just the fans. Once again, we got to know our roles. And we're just fans. We're just watching. We're just spectators. That's right. That's right. Jimmy's saying we're on a different trajectory. Y'all already went all in. Let's see how it works out for you. Don't get too cocky. Remember Atlanta. That's right. That's right. And remember Siakam last year and the Pacers and Carlisle. Y'all get too cocky, y'all find your way out. And that's what I'm saying. That's the biggest advice I can give Knicks Nation. Y'all shoot yourselves in the foot because you get too cocky. You enjoy yourselves too early. It's like a couple years ago, y'all won one playoff series and y'all acted like you won a championship, dancing in the streets. And y'all flamed out shortly after that. Have some humbleness. Have some that's part of it is you guys haven't been there in so long that y'all overreact when you do get success. And then you shoot yourself in the foot because you don't get the full success. So maybe some composure, maybe a little maturity, maybe a little good winning and not rubbing it in and pissing off the basketball gods because you're being a jerk like Milbester was. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need to do. You can be a humble, good winner and maybe you'll get further because in some ways it's working for you that way. You know what I'm saying? I'll read one more Milbester comment, just one more, and let's see if it's good or not. Saying, Jimmy, I haven't even been here since the WBC and baseball season. Yes, he's talking about baseball still. So it's like, what the fuck? Milbester, this may be the best kick out that I've ever done in the history of my channel because I'm going to get so much time back in my life because I won't be talking about WBC like 4 months before it happens and then 3 months after it happened too. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going. Kaloy's saying it's fine, Jimmy. Knicks ain't beating the Pistons or the Celtics this year, and they're going to fail next year too. That's right. Seriously, that's what the U.S. doesn't understand either. Like you're going to bomb Iranians. Well, you're making a lot of enemies, a lot of radicalized enemies that you didn't need to do that. It's like, it's so stupid. This whole thing was so unnecessary. And you're basically a puppet for Netanyahu with your bullshit and your dumbassery. You're making the world less safe because more people are going to hate the United States more. You guys were actually getting back on track with Biden in charge, but Trump has destroyed all that goodwill. And in fact, he's made the goodwill with the United States so bad that I don't know if you guys will ever be able to come back to where you were in the world and how prominent and how important y'all are in the world. Nobody trusts y'all anymore. And rightfully so. Rightfully so right now, because your system has led to the path of a narcissist, technocrat, oligarch, piece of shit who's fucking a criminal and he's running your country like a mafia. And your system is broken and nobody trusts you guys at this point. Nobody's trust you. Why would Europe trust y'all? They gave money to an American arms company to make arms for Ukraine. And Trump just stole all that money in those arms and said, we're keeping it for our war in Iran. You just stole millions of dollars from the European countries that invested in trying to get arms made by y'all. Do you think you'll ever get an arms contract from anybody ever again? He's horrible for business. He's pissed off all of y'all's partners, including Canada. And, you're so much damage control y'all have to do into the years going into the future. There's no way y'all be the prominent top dog in the world ever again. You might as well have ceded it to China at this point because y'all are going to be behind because y'all are attached to fossil fuels. The whole rest of the world's going into sustainable green energy and they're getting better benefits from it. Y'all are going to continue to be on a fossil fuel system. Unfortunately, Canada looks like it will be too. And we will continue to pay crazy absorbent amounts for oil prices while the rest of the world is changing to green energy and they're saving money and they're going in the future and we're held backwards just because the oil lobby in Saudi Arabia owns our asses. That's sad. That's pathetic. In some ways, oil prices within the North America will change people to buy more electric vehicles, and we'll all move away from oil anyway, because naturally that's what's supposed to happen. But these people that make so much money off the oil industry are going to hold on for their dear lives and lobby and stymie and kill fusion scientists and people that are actually designing green energy that doesn't need any oil or anything. They're killing literally scientists, the oil lobby, to stop progress in green energy. But it's not going to stop it. It's going to come inevitably. And the oil industry is a dinosaur, just like the dinosaurs it's made out of, and it will go away. But they can hold on to it and be the last to come out of it, and it'll look like the Dark Ages. It's like the United States will look like a little kid, a miner, like with coal on their face in a picture. And it's like, yeah, they never figured this out till too late. And the rest of the worlds in the countries in the world are on green energy now, and they don't even burn anything, and they're pollution free, and they're getting all their energy abundantly from the sun and from the wind, and actually is working. And wow, they don't have pollution and prices are down and they're prospering as countries. Meanwhile, the United States has bread lines and people can't find any fucking jobs. And oil prices are sky high as always. And they have a dumb infrastructure that was still built around it. Sounds so stupid to me. Sounds like one of the dumbest things. And I'm sad that Canada has fallen suit with this to a degree. They need to pivot to green energy as much as possible. And even if the governments don't decide this, ordinary citizens within those systems will pivot more and more themselves, and they'll be part of the drive to the change. Yeah. This is deep stuff right here. I'm telling you, right here. That's right. Uji Bougie saying, for the Knicks fans trying to play clown mode in the chat, I think it's more a scheduled loss on a back-to-back in my yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I was saying just now. It's a scheduled loss. It was from the beginning of the year. I saw it on the calendar, and I said, man, they want us to lose to the Knicks right at the end of the season. And, well, it happened. That was all by plan. They didn't even need to send Scott Foster to make it happen for sure. They didn't even need to. Yeah, all three dudes played game before, and we chose rest versus New York. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Fiercely supporting Jakob Poeltl. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's right. Let's see. All right. Yeah. Milbester, you're gone for good, man. I hope you enjoyed this time while you've been on my channel. You're never coming back. Seriously, you're never coming back at this point. I'm not going to let you back in at this point. Uji Bougie saying, beat Brooklyn, rest until the playoffs, and work hard for the upset if we tune as best we can. Yeah, we got to beat Brooklyn for sure. That's a must. Now, is Jordy Fernandez going to be hard ass and try and be a spoiler? Yeah. Does he have the personnel and the type of team right now to beat us? Probably not, though. We probably it's going to be probably easier than Miami. And, we'll just trounce them and we'll get our rest for the week and we'll do our best against whichever opponent we get, most likely New York. We'll just do our best then. Yeah, we'll just do our best. Chloe's saying, because we had 30 wins last year, is happy to participate in the postseason no matter who. Yeah, we got to build. And in some ways, the test against either the Knicks or the Cavs in the first round is going to be valuable experience. And we're excited about returning to the postseason. And these are the things that matter in all this. We're not trying to win a championship. Just because y'all's goals are the same, y'all's goals are what they are, they're not the same as ours. Y'all need to be championship or bust with that salary and the build and the way you guys played this year. Yeah, y'all need to be championship or bust. We're not. We're a team that's young and we're growing, and we have a lot more to do to get to that level to compete. So we're not expected to try and be a championship team this year. Y'all are. So you have way more pressure on you. And when y'all fail, ultimately you will. Yeah, well, what are you going to do in the offseason? You're going to gut react. You're going to fire a coach. You're going to trade a player. You're going to do something like that probably. Yeah, you won't fire a coach. I know you won't do that this year because you did that one last year. And you'll probably maybe trade a major player. And maybe you will try and reconvene with Dante DiVincenzo. But who cares, man? Fiercely saying Milbester's obsession with Dante DiVincenzo needs to be studied. No, it's just that he's like he's a Knick favorite, and they were sad that he had to got traded with Randall to get Cat. And, they do want to get him back because they love their Villanova Pokemon set of 4. They want to have all 4 of their Villanova Wildcats just to feel complete. Why don't you go get fucking Ryan too while you're at it? Just so you can have your little Villanova fun. Seriously, go do that. Yeah, I'm not even going to check your hidden messages at this point, Milbester. You're dead to me. All right. I'm sorry. I wish you well. You seem like a nice guy. And thank God you live in a city with a great mayor. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, our time with you is done. You're not adding anything of value to our channel at this point. Let's just put it that way. Uji Bougie saying on a back-to-back, why didn't y'all rest your starters like Cleveland and hand us a win? Seems like NBA collusion. So, I mean, we take the given L and move on to Brooklyn game plan. Yeah, either way, in some ways, I think that legitimately Quickly couldn't play. He couldn't play. Colin, in some ways, is our X factor. He may be the guy we're hiding from you guys because honestly, I don't think Colin's played you guys hardly at all this year. I can't remember Murray-Boyles playing against the Knicks too much this year. He maybe played like 1 or 2 of the 5 games, but not hardly at all. And he could actually be that hidden weapon that we're not fucking showing you guys, and that you have no fucking idea about what Colin Murray-Boyles is going to bring when he comes out there and plays against y'all. So that could be the hidden weapon right there. That might be it right there. That very well could be it right there. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Kaloy saying this, Knicks might be better now. I predict that as early as next year, the Raps will pay back all these beatdowns, Mel B. I mean, we owe the Knicks bad. If Kyle Lowry had been on this team at any point in these last few years, he'd been like, man, we need to fucking beat the Knicks. What are we fucking doing with our lives? He would have said the same thing about the Celtics too. And that's why I miss a personality like Kyle Lowry being on the Raptors, because he was quality control for this kind of shit. And he didn't never let these kind of streaks start happening with teams. He always wanted to keep a 50-50 at least, or just try and like get wins when they can, and definitely stop streaks where they are sweeping. This wouldn't have gone on this long. And in some ways, it's indicative of Kyle leaving, because Kyle left. We traded him to Miami and we drafted Scotty, and we went into the Scotty era. And, Fred was on the team still for the first 2 years of Scotty. And in some ways, he was kind of keeping some quality control for trying to do this, but he's not Lowry, and they, we did beat, some of these teams. But then no, we haven't beat them since. And I feel like it's because we don't have people on our team like Lowry that really get pissed off and competitive and say, no, we can't lose to them. If Shed was more savvy and further along in his career, maybe he'd be this guy saying, fuck this, guys. We need to beat the Knicks again. We haven't beat them in 3 years. We just need a leader like that again, because Lowry was like that when he was on our team. He was definitely like that. And he was telling people, yeah, we have to beat this team. We can't have to have pride. We have to have pride. You know what I'm saying? And even if they're not supposed to beat them, or the odds are matched against us, well, we got to go against the odds and we got to make it happen somehow, some way. Mission Impossible style. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what it's saying. Reggie's saying this. The Raptors aren't likely to beat the Knicks. I've accepted that. Yeah, I hate this. You're too early with this shit. You did this last night in the middle of the game, too. It was in the second quarter. He's like, well, we're going to lose this game. Reggie, stop, man. I know it was your birthday yesterday, but stop doing this shit. We need to be even, in some ways, being the homers we are, we have to be blind followers and just believe in the impossible and the crazy, too. So I'm not willing to say this right away. Like, what the fuck? This is defeatist kind of bullshit, Reggie. Happy birthday, but don't have this attitude. Seriously. Seriously. New York takes Toronto seriously. The Knicks have the pressure to win. Toronto hasn't experienced playoffs in 3 years. Well, anything can happen. And then sometimes in these kind of situations, crazy stuff can happen. Let's just put it that way. We know it would probably be the Raptors versus the association, because they're going to have storylines that they're going to want to write, and they're not going to want us to beat them. But you know what? We got to take the odds and the battle as we can, and just do our best. That's all. We're work in progress. We're trying to get better and better. And well, having failure and going through stuff is the best way to try and get better, because you can learn from it. And that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. Uji Buji saying Atlanta was handed the win when they had a tie standing by the team ahead of them, because the Cavs wanted Hawks and handed us to New York. But that is clown actions from grown men. But I mean, it happens in the NBA. Well, that's why you want to do really well and control your destiny as best as you can. And unfortunately, in some situations, this could be manipulated to be this. And that's we just got to, in some ways we can't be like, oh well, whatever. We got to be, you know what? This is the challenge. We got to face it. That's what we got to be. That's what we got to be. That's the best thing to do right there. That's the best thing to do right there. Yeah. Trevor J saying it's a spin of the ball. Yeah, I know. It's like, I mean, I get that, but also I'm wondering, like, sometimes, Brandon, like I said in the last stream about how he made that corner three with that swirly. The spin's supposed to swirl into the hoop. Like when it's spinning and it's spinning out, something's wrong because Brandon don't practice that to spin out like that, especially on the free throws. That's where it looked really fishy to me. Is that like some of the way the ball was jumping out of the cylinder looked unnatural to me. It looked unnatural to me. I don't know. Conspiracy theory. It's something weird that we've kind of thought about for years now. Is there some way to make the rims harder to shoot in because they have some sort of device or something like that? And when they want to, they can make a team a bad shooting team because they turned it on, right? Could that be possible? I don't trust the NBA, man. Money's involved, and there's a lot of betting at this point. And it's not like the NBA is totally on the up and up, a real organization of true competition. There is all kinds of weird bullshit they're doing to like help people and hurt people. Seriously, there's all kinds of weird shit. We know this as Raptors fans. We can see it better than most. That's right. Kaloy saying in 2000, the Knicks swept the Raptors and then proceeded to beat them in 2001 and then went to the series. Yeah, you wrote this wrong, Kaloy. In 2000, because I went to one of these games, I know that we got swept in 3 games in a 5-game series against the Knicks, the first time the Raptors ever made the playoffs. This is history for the Raptors. The first time we ever made the playoffs, we played the Knicks, and they swept us in a best of 5, 3-0. Yeah, it wasn't even a 7-game series. The next year, we played them in the first round, and we beat them. We beat them. Charles Oakley, Chris Childs, Alvin Williams, these guys came and beat the Knicks, and they kicked their ass. And that was the next year. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the last time we played them. So the last time we played the Knicks in the playoffs, we beat them, y'all. Just so y'all know, last time we played them, we beat them, and we haven't played them since. That's right. That's right. Let's see. I lost my place. So let me just find it real quick. It's a lot of comments. I appreciate everybody being here today. Smooth saying I would much rather the Raptors play the Cavs, avoid New York. Reggie, you got to stop having such a loser mentality right now. We got to play whoever we got to play. Smooth saying OG wants to destroy us every time we play him, man. Destroy us to the point where he sits out the second half. Come on, man. Like I was just describing, Scotty and OG may just cancel each other out. This may be a lot of the effect that happens in a series with them, is that we're going to have to rely on other people, and they're just going to be taking each other out, so that OG's not a good factor for the Knicks and Scotty's not necessarily a total factor for us either. They just cancel each other out. That could very well be what happens. That's kind of what I saw last night in the first half. Scotty wasn't getting going too much, and neither was OG. Neither one of them. They're just such good defensive players that they're going to cancel each other out. So, OG can want to destroy us. Yeah, whatever. It's not about that. It's whether Scott can stop him, and Scott can stop him. We know Scotty's a good matchup against him. Yeah. Yeah, Smooth. I don't like your Debbie Downer, man. Seriously. Be more happy. Come on, and be more positive, please. Kareem saying this: Raptors have done everything right to not piss off the basketball gods. We might just be, don't say stuff like that. We don't know. We might just be able to get the Cavs. Them Knicks are deep, man. But there was a Bible story, David and Goliath. Well, I like David and Goliath for this. Yeah. Hopefully this can be the story that we write if we have to face them, which is likely we will. Yeah. I don't know, Kareem. You can't be making declarations like this completely. I like to think we're not trying to piss off the basketball gods like the Knicks. The Knicks would definitely do that, but they have the front office behind them. So they'll get support from Adam Silver and the NBA head office in their city. So, there's different things that are looking out for them. Let's see. Trevor's saying they're saying it's no timeline for OG to return. Yeah, I don't care about that. There's too much time between now and next week. It's not like OG's gone for the playoffs. You can't paint that picture, Trevor. This is too early to get the injury report for a playoff series. This is like way too early. This is like a week away. He's going to be fine. Kaloy saying this rebounding will be the key in this matchup. That might very well be true. I could see that. I could see that. Milbester doesn't even know that OG got hurt last night. Yeah, you're an idiot, man. Trevor's saying this Chelsea Gray just signed with the Aces, 3-year deal, 300 million. Yeah, in some ways that's indicative of the new CBA and the free agency. I'm not going to go over every WNBA signing this weekend, Trevor. So don't give me each one of them. I don't care. We're just going to cover the tempo stuff. Okay. In some ways, it's like it's interesting because it is kind of historic, but there's going to be so many moves in yesterday and today that I don't want to cover them all. I'm not general WNBA channel, just like I'm not general NBA channel. We're covering very focused on the Toronto tempo and very focused on the Raptors. Very focused. That's right. Yeah. Fierce's saying, yes, Milbester, you don't watch the game. Is left angle on. You didn't watch it. You said it. You didn't watch it. So why the fuck are you in here on my reaction stream for a basketball game when you watched the Rays Yankees game last night? That's what I'm saying. Shaq Lindsay saying, why do we continue to play Shed on Brunson? If we were playing the Cavs, we would put Shed on Harden. Brunson, like Harden, is way too crafty. And on offense, we have to take advantage because Brunson, like Harden, is a liability. Well, we didn't have IQ, right? And in some ways, like, what are the other options off the bench after that for a small point guard in defense? Maybe Elijah Martin, which we did see for a little while. But it's really kind of like, Brunson's not a good matchup in some ways. He's hard to guard just in general. Like, I thought Shed did a good job guarding Jalen Brunson to a degree. But it's like, Brunson's just got a really good moves to create space for himself, and he's a dead eye. He's not going to make all those shots all the time, but he's very polished. He's worked very hard in his life to have this kind of shot and be able to make the space and make these shots. It's the same thing with Pritchard. Both those guys can make people look bad, even if they're guarding them well, because they have strength and they have the ability to create their own space. And I don't blame Shed for this. Shed is still the best option. I mean, maybe you throw Walter on him a little bit. There's options. But, Jalen Brunson's one of the best offensive players in the league. He's not one of the best defensive players, that's for sure, like you're saying. But he's one of the best offensive players, at least with crunch time and making sure his team gets shots. I mean, he's telling his coach sometimes, hey, I'm going to get this win for us, Mike. Okay, Jalen, go get it. He's doing shit like that. He's calling his shot like Babe Ruth and coming out and then making the shot and winning the game for the Knicks. So it's like he's just like that to a degree. You can't get mad at Shed. He's playing him very toughly. Now, is Brunson's shots always going to fall like that? No. That's the thing. In some cases, some of the games he's played against us, he's been hot and he's been making them better for some reason. But in a lot of games this year, he would be cold and he didn't shoot well too. So, there's different Brunsons you can get on certain nights. And well, last night he was in the zone. He was making his shots. And some other nights he won't. So it's just different. UC saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. I've been seeing Knicks and Cavs fans talking nonsense, but both of their franchises have the same amount of championships won since the Raptors been around. That's not true. That's not true at all. The Cavs won a bunch of like 2 championships with LeBron, right? They won or 1 championship. I don't know. Either way, we can't do this. We can do this with the Knicks, but we can't do this with the Cavs. The Cavs have won in the last 50 years. And I think they have 2 championships, don't they? Or do they have only 1? Did LeBron only come back and get 1 for them? I don't remember. See, that's how little I cared about the Warriors and the Cavs in the middle of the 2010s. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't watch any of their finals games. It was such a turnoff. It was so boring to me. I didn't watch any of it. Either way, whatever they're saying, who cares what their fans are saying? Who cares? They're all out of pocket and crazy. And they hate us, honestly. Kareem's saying this. One thing I know about OG is if he's hurt, he's hurt. Won't come around for a couple weeks. Thumbgate. Colin has 2 injuries on his thumb and it took 4 games off. OG took 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm not talking shit about OG and injuries. I'm sorry. We went through enough of it when he was on our team. In some ways, I like that guy. And in some ways, look, this is overreacting. He didn't really get that hurt last night, guys. Let's just put it that way. I was surprised he didn't come back because I didn't even see where he got hurt. And honestly, they probably are overcautious with OG, but there's nothing wrong with doing that. We were overcautious with him when he was on our team too. So I don't get this, Kareem. I don't know what are you trying to be a joker about OG? Let's just honor our Raptors draft pick and Raptors champion, even if he wears blue and orange right now. Because still, look, to a certain extent, OG is still Raptors Nation. And I'm not making fun of that man for his injury history at all, because I respect and love OG Anunoby, even if he's on the bad side of things right now. Even if he is, yeah. Yeah, Seymour's here. Good to see Seymour. Man, it's been a bit, Sheriff. I really respect and I appreciate you and I miss you, man. He said, "Have we overachieved this season, or did you see us in this spot?" I think we're fine. You know, a lot of people are coming after Bill Simmons because he was trying to say, "I don't see Toronto in the top 6 in the East anywhere." Motherfucker, you're a piece of shit. And Kendrick Perkins, you're awesome for standing for us. Yeah, we're going to finish in the top 6 in the East, and Bill Simmons can eat his words and look like a loser and a piece of crap for that. Honestly, I was more right than Bill Simmons was. I said the Raptors would be top 4. Well, we'll be 6. And in some ways, there's injuries and different issues that happen with our team post All-Star break that kind of fudged us up, and we got in the middle of this fight for a playoff or play-in. And it didn't go exactly as good as I hoped, but it's better than most people thought. And I'm closer to the prediction of what the Raptors did this year than pretty much everybody else. Because you guys know, you got the receipts. Last July, I said the Raptors would be a playoff team. I said that the Raptors could be top 4. I said that the Raptors would be up near the top in the Eastern Conference. And that's more accurate than the people that said they wouldn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, the receipts are there. You can go into my archive and you can see it. Overachieved? I don't know. I don't think it's overachieving. I think that we've done what we were supposed to do. And you know what? I'm just happy because we are way better than we were last year. And that's what we wanted, right? We want progress. We want to show that we're getting better and better. And that's what matters, right? That's what matters. It's not what everybody else tells us what matters. Oh, you guys should be trying to win a championship. No, that's not realistic. Our goals and what we do is for ourselves and not for other people to determine, is what I say. That's it right there. Seymour, you want to call me? You got the open line to call me. You know you do. You know you do. I miss a call from Seymour. I really do. Let's see. Kareem saying this. I want to see Jakobi on Brunson and Scotty and Colin on Cat. Not sure how to maneuver the lineup, but I think that's the best way to slow down the Knicks. Jakobi on Brunson is not a bad idea, and maybe they will show that more in a playoff series. That may be very true. We'll have to see. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it is. Now, RJ coming back. He's become an underrated defender. He's a way better defender as a Raptor than a Knick. And, we'll have to show that off too. You know, there's certain matchups that we have when certain people are showing up. And when RJ and Emmanuel aren't there, well, it's not exactly the way we would have it with our full strength. That's right. And that's it right there. UC saying Dante getting praise is only a Knicks fan would do because they're delusional. Yeah, I like DiVincenzo myself. I think that he's a good shooter and that he's a big time player. Like in some ways, he can be very clutch. I hope that it's not true what Milbester's saying. I hope that they're not able to get him to come back because it just doesn't happen. Maybe because Dante's still pissed at them because they traded him in the first place. Maybe it's because things don't work out so easy and it's just not as simple as Milbester thinks it is, and he's just going to return. Yeah, I hate that idea. I think he's not going to, Milbester, and I'm going to put out more energy in saying Dante's not coming back to New York, and you're crazy. I'm going to say that. Yeah, we're going to say that it's not happening. Ha ha ha. You're delusional. Shaq Lindsay saying Scotty needs to be more forceful and stop looking for fouls. Milbester, the Knicks are good, but they can be beat. The script is out on Brunson. Attack Brunson because he's a liability on defense. Yeah. And honestly, we weren't really utilizing that in any kind of way. This game was very sloggy. This was not a high octane game. And, the Knicks, their success comes from not turning the ball over and letting us run. That's smart because that is the best way. But, man, it's really was clamped down, and offense was a premium. It's really hard to get any scores. And, it was hard for the Raptors to score in the first quarter, but we competed with them. We cut real close, and we were only down by 1 after the first. The second quarter, we did pretty good too. But, it kind of fell apart, actually. And then we were down at halftime We scored the same as them in the third, and we kind of kept pace in the fourth too. So it was really just one bad quarter in the second where we let them get away from us. I guess I should do the stars of the game. I'm not even looking at the box score. I should do this. Yeah, they kind of doubled us up in the second quarter. All right. My number one star of the game for last night is Sandro Mamukelashvili. He got the interview after the game with the press. And yeah, he said that they're really, really intense about this race and the standings and doing what they need to do to get the playoffs. This has been very much talked about, and they're very intense about it. And they're working hard. 25 minutes from Mamu, 17 points off the bench, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 4 of 6 to the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, and a steal, a -3, which is not a bad plus minus for the game last night, a -3. So, yeah, Sandro, my number one star, who shot fairly well from 3, and he gave his standard stuff. 8 rebounds is fantastic, and getting 17 points in a slog fest where it's hard to score. He was one of the few people that was able to move with quickness on the court, it seemed, last night. Very, very up and down the court. Very, very fast. Yeah, him and Lawson were 2 very fast players last night. Jacoby Walters, my second star of the game. In some ways, he was the only guy who could score at the beginning of the game. None of the Raptors could get any shots in, and Jacoby made the first shot. It was a 3, and then it seemed like he made like the first 10 points of the game. Him and Brandon were the only two who were hitting any shots. Jacoby Walter, 29 minutes, 15 points on 5 of 9 shooting. He was 4 of 7 from 3. So him and Mamu got the majority of the threes for us last night. 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a -20. Yeah, it's still not the best performance by Walter in some ways, but he got our offense going. He was solely the person who got our offensive going at the beginning of the game. My third star and final star for the game yesterday is Brandon Ingram. Ingram was a mixed bag. He had his little moments where he seemed like he was taking a run for himself, where he scored consecutive baskets and had some good offensive things going. It was really a tough thing because they put Josh Hart on him. He's so physical, and he knows Brandon real well from them being teammates in New Orleans. And there's nothing but love between the two guys, and it's a friendly rivalry. But also at the same time, he's annoying Brandon because he's very pushy, he's very touchy, he's dirty, and he's doing all kinds of things just to throw his shot off if he's near him. So one of the biggest important things the Raptors need to do is to create space for Brandon. They need to get him to places where he can just elevate it and not get touched, because he has to make these shots. He has to absolutely pinpoint, nail these shots if he gets to open spots with space with nobody coming to physical him. So that's really where we find the best success, is we got to give him room. And this is an area where we need Jakob immensely, because he'll peel off defenders so that Brandon can get space off of screens. So, yeah, Ingram, 35 minutes, 16 points on 8 of 15 shooting, missed both his threes, and he missed all 4 of his free throws. That's what I'm saying. The 3 stars of the game that I just named were a collective 5 of 12 from the free throw line. And it's really active and crazy in that building. There is a certain brighter light in Madison Square Garden. It's part of the mystique. It's part of, like, you get into this whole psychology thing. It's like, oh, this is Madison Square Garden. There's famous people all along the row over there. There's Fat Joe and this bullshit. Some people get really messed up by that. And I find that there's a certain level of, you got to mature in the league so that Madison Square Garden doesn't mean shit to you. Seriously. Where it's just like, it's just another arena. But when you're young, people like Shed and Walter, they may get in their heads and be like, oh my gosh, I'm playing in Madison Square Garden, and this is such a big deal. And they get a little shakier. They get a little more nervous, and they don't play as hard. This is part of the mystique of that arena. And this is something that's been going on for a long, long time. But in some ways, they've really enhanced it and made it even more hostile and not friendly. And also, young players have a curve of feeling comfortable in that building. And that's part of the secret of success for the Knicks against us, at least in New York. I don't know what the fuck's happening here in Toronto when we play them here. But at least in New York, they have that, and that is a factor for the young players. And they get a little in their heads. It's like, oh, they get in the awe of the bright lights. The NBA is already a bright lights league where if you play on a regular NBA court, there's a certain level of tension and stress, of attentiveness. And in fact, we saw that manifest in Elijah Martin in his first stint on the court last night. He played scared. He played like he was worried, and he didn't play his aggressive, confident self like he did all year on 905. He actually passed up shots, and he had to have Sandro tell him what to do on the court to go and be aggressive to get something. And they did set him up with a nice pass underneath the basket where he could make a lay-in. Scotty with a bullet pass to him real quick at one point. But there were times the first trip on the court with Elijah Martin, he was tentative and he was not playing correctly. And he was scared. He played scared. Honestly, you could see it because he passed up a layup and had to pass it to somebody instead. He heard footsteps and he felt the aura of Madison Square Garden. And it's tough. It's tough. Brandon missing 4 free throws, that's not normal. That's not normal. Something's weird there. He did get 4 rebounds and 6 assists, 1 turnover and 1 steal, a -9 for BI. Yeah, that's not the best game. Obviously, we just saw him drop over twice that and 38 points the night before. Yeah, it's tough. They're going to tie him up, and we got to figure out how to get him loose. We got to figure out how to get him loose. I'm going to give an honorable mention to Scotty Barnes. 34 minutes, 15 points, 6 of 13 from the field. Misses only 3. He made all 3 of his free throws. 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, a -10. Like I said, him and OG are kind of negating each other. And Scotty really took off in the second half more when OG was gone. And he started making those measured mid-range shots. And he started carving out and being more aggressive, trying to go to the basket because OG wasn't there trying to tie him up. Jakob Poeltl, 19 minutes, 4 points on 2 of 3 shooting, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, a -14. A lot of people coming out Yak. We started out talking about this on the stream. I think he is on the down low playing hurt right now. He's playing hurt and he's not 100%. And that's part of the reason why he's a little slow right now. In some ways, we could see him be bursting and a little bit more active and go get like a double-double, like a 20 and 18 game. He still has that in him. It's just that, the back injury that he has is it changes day to day. And some days he may be a little more stiffer than other days. He may be more limber. So that's part of the difference in the variance of Yak's output and what he's doing on the court is that he's actually probably got a different severity to his back injury on different days. And you got to figure if he played the night before against Miami, and he's coming in on back-to-back, that, he may not be totally 100%. He only played 19 minutes. It's not like Darko kept him out there a lot because in some ways it is the back-to-back. And he's been resting on the second night of back-to-back most of the season. So there's a lot to this more than just say, oh, Yak is washed. He's slow. He sucks. In some ways, hopefully he can be healthier next week after some rest. That's what I'm saying. They may even, I don't know, could they actually sit Yak on Sunday just to give him an extra rest day longer to go into for next week? Maybe, because he may not be essential to beat the Nets on Sunday. So we'll have to see. Shed in the starting lineup, 27 minutes, 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, a -9. Yeah, a lot of people are coming down on Shed right now because they feel like he couldn't guard Brunson and he didn't add anything scoring himself. It's tough, man. You guys got to understand. He's a second-year player. He's a second-round pick. I don't know what y'all expect him to be perfect or anything like that. He's still got a learning curve in a certain way as a second-year player. He was advanced, so y'all expect so much of him already, but in some ways you shouldn't because he still is a second-year player, and he is a second-round pick. It's like he's playing way above where he came from. So let's give him some chances. And honestly, I thought that he was okay in some ways. It's just sometimes when you're in this kind of situation where scoring is a premium, not everybody's going to score a whole lot. And it sucks that none of the Raptors scored 20 points yesterday. It does suck. That is a problem. I thought Mobo came out and he played a lot of quality minutes for the Raptors in the 17 minutes he played yesterday. With no call-in, Jonathan Mobo was called to come in, and he showed off some of the great work that he's been working on all year in the G League for the 905 out there, a confidence and a strength, and he was in there mixing it up, and he was actually getting some success, even getting foul calls for himself. So Mobo, 6 points on 2 of 2 from the field, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, a -4. He played pretty solid defense. He was in there mixing it up, and he was trying to do as much as he can. 5 rebounds is fantastic. in only 17 minutes. So, yeah, salute to you, Mobo. Good job. Lawson injected some Lambo Lawson into the game as far as some quickness and getting up the court and taking some threes, too. 5 points for AJ, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from three. He took most of them were threes. 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, no turnovers, a +3. AJ Lawson, the only plus minus on our team. So when he was out there, the Raptors won. So that's pretty good. Elijah Martin, 12 minutes, 3 points, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 2 assists, 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers for only 12 minutes. Elijah, tighten up. Tighten up. It's nice to see that all the guys who came in garbage time all did score. There was no goose eggs on the team. Maybe they heard what I said about garbage time being wasted and getting zeros across the board. Jamison Battle, 6 minutes, 2 points. He made his one shot he took, and he got an assist, a -10. And Grady Dick, 12 minutes, 7 points on 3 of 4 shooting. He was perfect from the field until Medved Ted noted it in our Discord server, and then he missed a shot right after that. I'm like, Medved Ted, shh, don't say that. He got his 3, which I was overjoyed. Grady took a 3, and he made it, and that's a good sign. There's a bright spot right there. Grady took 1 3, and he made it in the game last night. He got 1 assist, too, and he had 2 steals. So he was active, and that steal he got was awesome when he jumped in the passing lane and ran back and got the layup. Some real confidence and a good game for Grady in the 12 minutes he was out there getting 7 points. He's definitely an honorable mention from the game last night, too. So, yeah, that's the box score for our players. And going to the other side, Jalen Brunson, 12 of 18 with 29 points. And then Cat, 8 of 12 with 22 points and 10 rebounds. So, yeah, those are the 2 key players on the other side. I felt like Bridges had a little part where he made a couple threes that was annoying, and that really helped them win. And then some of the bench players were really key, including Shamet and Alvarado. Those 2 guys, and Clarkson, too. Clarkson did some stuff that was important for them in the game yesterday. And Huck Porty also. He had 4 for 4 with 8 points. So they had different guys giving good bench contributions off their bench. Box score for the team stats. They shot 55%. We shot 49. Yeah, like I said, somebody check those rims for any kind of air jets or something like that. We made 10 3-pointers. They only made 8. So they didn't really rely on the 3 at all. And they shot horrible from 3, honestly. We missed a lot of free throws. We missed 7 free throws. And that's annoying. 65% from the free throw line. They did get 7 more free throw attempts than us. So there was a little bit of favor there from Curtis Blair and the crew. Rebounding, they were +5. It was 37-32. It was pretty close, though. Assist to turnover ratio, yeah, we screwed up there. We didn't take care of the ball as well as we normally do. We had 18 turnovers with only 24 assists. That's not the kind of assist to turnover ratio that Darko wants. And meanwhile, they did a 2-to-1 straight up, 24-12, which is not bad. That's not bad. A 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Fast break points, we just couldn't get running. Only 9 fast break points. And they outscored us in the paint, 58-40. So that's tough, man. 24 fouls called on the Raptors, only 16 called on the Knicks. Yeah. Like they're not playing physical and putting their hands in the cookie jar and fouling us too. Yeah. That's a big difference in foul calls. That's like 8 more fouls for us. Yeah, that's a problem right there. Yeah, let's keep going. And the chat, let's see. Fiercely saying the Knicks struggle against the Pistons and the Celtics. They will not make it past the second round. Yeah. I mean, I think that you're right. They really didn't play well against the Pistons this year. I think the Pistons beat the Knicks most times that they played this year. Now, they did just beat the Celtics, though, on Thursday night. That would be a pretty even match, I think, the Celtics and the Knicks. Although with Tatum back, maybe that's the X factor that puts the Celtics over the Knicks. You know, if the Knicks are too cocky, I might actually root for the Celtics against the Knicks. That's not what I've done in the past couple of years. I've actually rooted for the Knicks to beat the Celtics. But this year, I might flip that just because Knicks fans are being little assholes. And I might put my rooting energy behind the Celtics if that matchup happens. If that matchup happens, and we can stop that from happening. That's right. UC saying, oh, wait, I already read that. Kareem saying, see you later, Milbester. He's still salty because the Yankees lose. That's right. Yeah, it's too bad. You know, Milbester's been around for a couple years. But man, you got to pick and choose. And being a poor winner and coming in and rubbing in like that is, man, it's just a bad look. Honestly, you've not been contributing anything good to this channel for about a year now. It's been basically just baseball bullshit over and over again. If you were contributing more to the channel in other ways, I wouldn't cut you out so easily. Is basically what I'm saying. Yeah, Seymour saying bye, bye, Felicia. Yeah, some of y'all were waiting for this. Stargate will be overjoyed. He used to be like, y'all kicked Milbester out finally. I don't have to have him blocked anymore. UC saying, see ya, bozo. I read a few comments and bro is salty when they won, shaking my head. I know. I'm sick of it. It's like, be a good winner. Y'all won. Have some dignity. Go to your Knicks spaces and enjoy your win. Celebrate. But nah, some poor winners need to come in here and try and rub it in. I'm not saying that about Deep State. Deep State's been fair. I've listened to his comments and I've answered them. But I'm just saying, some people will come in after wins and they'll rub it in. I'll be like, why are you so insecure that you have to do this? When we beat teams, like when we beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma City this year, I did not go to any Thunder spaces and start attacking Thunder fans and saying, woo, you guys suck. Oh, that's just juvenile, immature shit. And I'm not going to anybody else's spaces after the Raptors win. No. If the Raptors put the Knicks out of the playoffs, I'm not going to go do a victory lap in Knicks spaces like some other people have been doing with us. No, I'm not going to do that. And I mean, I know which fan nations are the worst for this because they come through here. Whether it's the Nuggets fans are absolutely kind of full of shit, honestly. They're full of shit. I found that out this year. And Knicks fans are pretty bad too. Celtics fans aren't coming in here and bugging us too much. The Sixers fans have been real quiet. They don't come in here. They've learned. They've learned. But yeah, for some reason, Knicks fans want to come and seek me out, come say something. And well, if they're respectful and they want to talk basketball, they can be here. But if they want to talk baseball and they're disrespectful, they can't. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. Adios, Seymour saying. Adios, Milbester. F the Knicks. That's right. That's right. See ya, bozo. There you go. Kaloy's laughing. Shaq Lindsay saying, Milbester, 3 strikes, you're out. Damn, the last thing I will say to you. Yeah, it's too bad, man. And Uji Bougie saying, I love this freak community. I mean, look, we lost to them. They swept us. In some ways, like, yeah, you guys own us right now. We are not getting success against the Knicks in recent years, but we can change this again someday. And we will. Trust me. And, you guys didn't beat us for a long, long time, too. There's been many years in the history of the NBA where we kicked the Knicks' ass and we swept y'all and did stuff like that. So, it's all tides will turn. Tides will turn. And right now we're in that place where, the Celtics and the Knicks have our number. But this will change. It's not going to always be like this. Trust me. It's going to come around. The Yankees lose. The Yankees lose. And Vladdy was at the game on Thursday night enjoying the celebration. He loves Raptors games. Vlad Guerrero Jr. loves going to Raptors games. In fact, he goes to them regularly. I mean, they just started up their season. And this man's coming on his off day and coming down to the Scotiabank Arena to support the Raptors. Vladdy's been supporting the Raptors for years now. I would bet you he's been to at least a dozen or so Raptors games, and he gets called out being at the Raptors games all the time. And it was so fun to see Vlad Guerrero Jr., the man who was in the World Series last year, at the Raptors game, throwing T-shirts out to the crowd. And the cool thing about Vladdy is he's got that gun for an arm. He doesn't have to go to the edge of the court, all corners, to reach around the arena. He stood at center court, and the girl handed him shirts, and he just launched them in each direction from center court and hitting people all around the whole arena from center court because he's got that baseball gun, right? That arm. That's right. That's right. The Yankees lose. The Yankees lose. I mean, seriously, they want to do this to us. Seriously, we want to do this, man. Uji Bougie saying he's pooped before he has his morning coffee. I'm so happy Seymour's here this morning. Seriously, it's good to see him. Shaq Lindsay saying this: we may not have the pieces now, but we're building. But the Knicks couldn't wait and took out the pie before it was ready. Now Brunson wants a piece of it. It's do or die time for them, the Cavs and the Celtics. Those 3 teams are championship or bust with their salaries and what they're doing. And in some ways, they really got to try and win this year, right? I don't know. The Celtics may have, because they were supposed to do a gap year and they're kind of in there. Maybe they're not as pressured because they weren't even supposed to be here. But the Knicks and the Cavs, immense pressure because of your salaries and your windows. You think you have 5 years, Milbester? I doubt that. I don't think you have 5 years. I don't think you have a 5-year window to try and win a championship here. UC saying, I bet with this win from the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns still doesn't know his role for the Knicks. We should expose that if we face them in the first round. Yeah, the one thing that annoys me, and I want to switch this, is I'm sick, and I think this is part of the reason why Raptors fans are mad at Yacht, is because Darko is employing a one-on-one defense where he has to guard the center, and quite often in the last 2 games with Cat and Bam, these guys are lurking around the three-point line, and they're drawing Yak away from the center, and that's on purpose. You got 2 guys that can shoot threes as centers, Adebayo and Cat, that you want to keep one of the best shot blockers out of the lane. I don't agree with this, Darko. I think that you should switch it so that Yak is taking the big that's closest to the basket and let Scotty run after the big that plays on the perimeter. You need to keep Yak at home. You've got to stop sending him out to the free-point line because it's making him look bad on defense. If you keep him as the guy in the castle guarding at the gate, at the basket, he can look better on defense instead of scrambling back from the top because the other team drew him out with the offensive scheme. There's always going to be 2 bigs on the court, right? And this is the thing. He needs to mirror the guy who's near the basket, that's the big down there, and shadow them. So stop sending him out. Stop putting him on the perimeter. That man should never be guarding out there. In some ways, he doesn't have the side to side foot speed to do outside defense. He needs to be on the big that's camped down low. And if they switch it, well, just leave him down there and switch it. And Scotty switches to the guy who's outside. Because that to me is pissing me off. And that I feel like is a strategy that other teams are using. They take away our best shot blocker by drawing him out of the lane. And we're falling for it because we're just putting them one-on-one, and that's what they're doing. They're playing us like a violin. So let's switch it up. Let's say Yak is designated for the big near the basket, and Scotty can take the big on the outside trying to shoot threes. Let's switch it up. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Let's see. Neil's saying this. Raptors hide Colin from the Knicks because we will meet him in the playoffs full strength. This is what I'm thinking too, because I don't know how much they've actually played Colin this year. I think that Colin in some ways has been missing in some of these games. Let me go look. I can kind of check. Let me see. In the first game that we played the Knicks this season, let's see who was missing from our team at that time. Colin did play in that first game, and he got 11 points and 8 rebounds. And it looks like we didn't have Yak in that game, though. We didn't have Yak in that particular game. So we were missing Jakob Poeltl, and we were also missing RJ Barrett in the first time we played them. So in the first game. In the second game we played them, we were missing. It looks like we were missing. Yeah, we were missing RJ again. RJ did not play in the second game we played him, and neither did Emmanuel. So both of the former Knicks didn't play in that one. But Colin did play in this game off the bench. In the second, that was the in-season tournament game, which that kind of sucked that he didn't play in. Those guys didn't play in that one. That was the one we got the closest to beating them, honestly, was the in-season tournament game. Okay, in the third game, RJ and Emmanuel both played. Colin played, but we didn't have Brandon Ingram. Oh no, we had Brandon. We didn't have Yak. We didn't have Yak in this one. So we haven't had our full team every time we played them. We haven't had our full team. We've either been missing RJ or Yak or Emmanuel. The fourth game we played against them, we were missing. We were missing Colin. So Colin hasn't played the last 2 games against the Knicks. So, yeah, we've either been missing Yak or Colin every single time we played them this year. What if we have both of them? That'll mean we have the size Kaloi's worried about. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. Neil's saying this. The Knicks risked OJ for nothing. OJ. When you have deep playoff hopes, you don't jeopardize your player for a back-to-back. So you disagree with them even starting him yesterday, that they should have just kept him out and sat him on the second night of a back-to-back. That's interesting. I can kind of see that. Mo is here. Good morning, super fan Monique Lawrence. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. The loss bummed me out on many things. No answers. CMB, RJ, Emmanuel out. Mamu good at times, but meh, I wanted Cavs so badly. Well, we could still get Cavs. This can still happen. It's not set in stone. But we have to depend on other teams losing for us to get the Cavs at this point. We win tomorrow, we get the playoffs for sure. If we have the Atlanta Hawks lose tomorrow, we get the Cavs. So it's kind of like it's still a possibility, Mo. It's not over yet. Shaq Lindsay saying it's championship or bust for New York. And if they fail, all fingers will point to Towns in typical in New York fashion. Bill Bester, I got to trade Towns for Dante because you ain't getting Giannis. Bucks don't want Towns. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, Giannis. I just hope he stays a Buck. I'm sick of this shit. You know, Doc Rivers has come out with an interview in the last couple of days saying Giannis and I have a great relationship. They're lying. They're lying when they say that Giannis and I do not like each other, me and Doc. And it's like, it's stupid. It's like so much bullshit and lies. And people are saying things like, we wish Woj was to be back because Shams or whatever, I call him Shams because he's a sham, is not doing his job correctly since Woj left. And he's making up a lot of bullshit, and especially about the Milwaukee Bucks. And I don't blame Giannis for not wanting to play Shams all-star celebrity because he's been making his life miserable with all of his bullshit. Seriously, he's lying. He's lying because Rivers straight up said it's like Shams reported that Doc Rivers and Giannis don't get along. It's absolutely not true, is what Doc Rivers is saying. And I bet you Giannis would say, yeah, I have no problem with Doc. That's not the issue. Yeah, they're trying to pull it apart every which way they can with perception once again. And the Milwaukee Bucks organization is under fire from the NBA machine harder than anybody right now, with their trying to extract their franchise best player ever in their career, in their franchise history, from their team. And it's, in some ways, it makes me mad because if we're Raptors fans, what are they come around and try and do this to us? If we have a supreme level player like Giannis, you know, it's not a good precedent. And in some ways, it's like, I don't want fucking, you know, small market teams to get barraged with bullshit media saying that their best player is going to have to leave, when he's not wanting to leave. The team doesn't want to trade him, and they're just manufacturing all this perception and this bullshit. It's not good for the league. And as a team fan of a team like Toronto, I can recognize this as being unhealthy. And if I was a Bucks fan, I would be pissed off. And if I was Bucks freak, a majority of my channel would probably be dealt with diffusing all the lies and the bullshit put out by the NBA mainstream media about our star player. That's what I would be doing. And in some ways, I'm doing that vicariously for Milwaukee fans on the Raptor Freak channel because I don't like this action. I don't like that the NBA media machine is trying to pry Antetokounmpo from the Bucks, because if he wants to stay a Buck for life and one team for his career, he should allow to be doing that if the Milwaukee Bucks are okay with it too. And all this manufactured distress or dysfunction or all this kind of stuff, it's bullshit. And I'm sick of it. And the NBA media machine needs to lay off of Giannis. If he leaves the team in the offseason, so be it. But I'll bet you if he doesn't, they won't stop doing this, even if he signs an extension and he declares, I want to be a Buck for life. They just won't listen to him. It's annoying me. It really is annoying me. Shaq Lindsay saying this, but they would take, hang on. Let me make sure that I didn't lose my place. Okay, Shaq Lindsay saying, but they would take Brunson or OG plus Bridges plus. Yeah, I'm not trying to manufacture a trade for Giannis to get to the Knicks right now. UC saying this, why did the Knicks front office even overpay OG when we've known he has injury risks? I don't know. I wouldn't say that he's overpaid. I like the fact that a former Raptor came in and became the highest paid Knick. I like that. I don't say he's overpaid. I've never said this about OG. And I once again, I'm not going to get into this whole trope about OG Anunoby being injury prone. He's had some bad luck, and it's not totally his fault. And I hate it. I hate this. I fought against it when he was in our jersey, and I'll continue to do this for OG just because I like the guy. And once again, he's a Raptors draft pick. He's a Raptors champion. He's not a Knicks champion. We can continue to say this. He's not a Knicks champion. God willing, never will be. But he's a Raptors champion. And he's a Raptors rookie. And he's a Raptors success story. So I'm not going to paint this brush on OG Anunoby about him being an injury-prone player. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's not the way I'm going to do things here. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying because they couldn't wait and took out the pie before it was fully baked. I still feel like losing Hartenstein's their biggest mistake. That was their biggest mistake in the last few years. Hartenstein's a championship kind of player, obviously, because he went and won a championship with the Thunder. So, yeah, I think that was their biggest mistake. And I honestly think that firing their coach last year was a mistake, too, even though Mike Brown's done pretty good this year. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying New York luxury tax for the foreseeable future. Okay. They are so much in the tax. I don't think they can even afford draft picks. That's why I love this new system, because even the rich, they try and pay for winning. They're getting penalized for it. That's why I love this new system. You really want to pay for talent and be above and beyond with your talent? Well, you're going to have to pay extra money, and it's just how it is. I'm sorry. You're going to be penalized. UC saying, that's pretty sad. No wonder MSG prices are easily overpriced. Yeah. Turf Dome, good morning to you. As a Knicks fan, we don't hate the Raptors. Thank you for subscription. We really don't really pay you guys any mind. Okay, you used to. You will again. You go ahead. If you want to be arrogant about this, that's fine. You don't think that we're a serious threat, well, go ahead and keep thinking that. That's all I want you to think. That's what I want you to think. Yeah. Paying who? Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying the last time I checked, the luxury tax ain't no joke. Yeah, I can see that. Shaq Lindsay saying makes what I pay at the pump look like pennies. Seymour is saying hi to Eye Candy. I like that. Turf Dome saying, I know you guys paying Quickly, laughing my ass off. Yeah, Quickly's worth it, man. He's going to grow and he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Either way, listen, are you this insecure that you got to come in here and talk to me? That's what I would say. Once again, I'm not going to other teams, nations, channels after we beat them. Like, we've won some big games this year. We beat the Pistons. I don't think y'all beat the Pistons hardly at all this year. We beat the Pistons. We beat the Thunder. We beat we've had some really big wins this year, but I didn't go to the fan channels of these teams and rub it in. I'm not that insecure like you guys. Obviously, you have an insecurity to have to come here right now, is what I'm saying. Let's see. The Turf Dome, I'm just going to skip you. I'm just going to skip you. UC saying this, keep that energy when Jalen gets paid nearly $500 million, then disappears. Fiercely saying, no, he's not. He's a legit injured, very valuable to the Raptors. Yeah, he has foot injury right now. He's had a very serious injury for a couple months now, and he's been playing through it. And honestly, I've been appreciative of him playing hurt and doing as much as he can at times. He's taken a lot of rest in recent weeks, partly because he's trying to be healthy for the playoffs. But yeah, he's been ramping up the last week or so with some games that he's been playing, and he's been great to have back. Yeah. Let's see. UC saying when the Knicks pay Brunson $450 million supermax and they no longer have wiggle room to trade anyone or be able to draft anyone. Yeah, there you go. And he's saying that's not until 2028, sir. That's like in a year and a half. So don't get it twisted. Let's see. Ingram still hasn't taken over, and y'all paying him a super bag. He took over the other night. He looked like Kobe 2 nights ago. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to cut this guy out because this guy's coming in and very abrasive. And he doesn't seem like he's a keeper. Deep State seems all right. But Turf Dome, you're out. That's a real quick exit right there. Clay Allen's saying this. The Raptors are just not confident against the Knicks because they don't believe they can win against them. Man, I mean, I wish this didn't sound true. Clay Allen, I know you've been coming to the chat recently. Thank you for coming back again. You know, I don't want to believe this, but in some ways there is some psychological mental thing to this. You know, in some ways this is the stuff. This is why I say we need a Lowry on our team, because they're crazy and they're like such a competitive person. They're just going to be like, yeah, we don't give a fuck if you think that we can't beat you. We think we're irrationally thinking we can beat you, and we will, and we'll create that space to do it. But with our younger core and the younger players, in some ways, they don't have the power in themselves to do this like Lowry would. That's why I want Scotty. And I want Shed to start thinking this way a little bit better. All right, we're going to have a call today, guys. This is interesting. All right, here we go. Stargate, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, Lex?
Good, man. How you been today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. A little tired. I worked overnight, um, but I'm good.
Right on, man. So what's going on? What would you like to talk about today on the
Okay.
Raptor Freak Show?
I just urge. I'm gonna be quick. I just urge the Raptor fans to just relax. Okay. Like, okay, we might be playing the Knicks. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is the playoffs, man. Like anything can happen in the playoffs. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen we've seen teams that have gotten swept by other teams, beat them in the playoffs. We've seen that numerous times. We've seen teams that have been in the play-in get to the finals, like the Miami Heat. We
Right.
saw that, right? Relax, guys. It means nothing when you get to the playoffs. Okay, the Raptors just be a fan. They will adjust and they will play the Knicks the best that they can play. It doesn't mean anything, right? So just relax, guys.
I would say
Like
I would say just it does kind of mean something. It's an achievement to make the playoffs. I would say that.
yeah,
But I mean, I would say this. It's like, look, whatever outcome happens this year with whatever postseason thing that happens for the Raptors, once again, this year is a success no matter what, because we came from a non-playoff team to a straight up playoff team, hopefully as of tomorrow. And the other thing is, look, we are a work in progress and we need to get a taste as a young core. And whatever happens, and like Stargate's saying, it's anything can happen. And it's
right.
a new slate. So yeah,
They're good.
continue.
Yeah. Either way, they're good. They're good. Let
Yeah.
them go in. Let them. Let's see what they can do. They're a young team. Let's see what they can do. Right?
Yeah.
Just relax. Like
We don't have anything to lose in some ways, and they
yeah.
have everything to lose as far as like
Exactly.
if they
Okay.
start losing to us, like let's say realistically, like what if the Raptors play the Knicks in the first round and we only beat them once in the whole series? I would say that's a victory in some ways.
Well, I can tell you this: Knicks fans better hope the Raptors don't win that first game if they play them. They better hope, or it's gonna be a problem. I'm telling you that right now. Once they get that little confidence,
Yeah.
if the Raptors win that first game, I'm telling you that the Knicks fans are gonna freak out.
They'll
And I
definitely
haven't.
melt down. That's for
Yep,
sure. They'll definitely
yep,
melt down. Yeah.
yeah. So just relax. That's just enjoy the ride. Relax. They're good. Once they have
Take things
a
in
healthy opportunity.
stride and have some pride and keep your heads up, even if we're succeeding or failing. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
which one.
yeah, and stop hoping for to play other teams. Like I understand that you know we beat the
The
Cavaliers
Caps, we
a few
swept them
times.
this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We could well go into the playoffs and the Cavs can sweep us in the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Anything
So
can
just
happen. He's right to
yeah,
an extent. I mean, there's more likely different percentage outcomes in certain things, but I would
yeah,
say this: if we do somehow finagle our way into a first round series with the Caps, I probably would be like that. Maybe the better chance for us to win. But on the other token, us playing the Knicks in the first round may be more fun to me in some ways because I want that get back. I want that smoke.
yeah. You see,
I'm
I
not
don't
trying
have
to
it.
dodge no smoke. And that's
Yeah,
the thing. Some of our fans are being like, "No, we don't want to play the Knicks, man. We got to try and play the Caps." I'm like, "Fuck that. We gonna play
yeah,
whoever the fuck we have to face, and we want
exactly.
any smoke we get,
Any smoke,
especially
man.
because it's playoff smoke."
Yep.
And that's what we wanted this year. That's what we said at the beginning of the year. We set out a goal to make the playoffs. Now, are we ready to
Playoffs is a
compete for the
different
championship?
animal.
No. Are we going to
No,
win the
we know
first
that.
round? Maybe not. But we can do whatever we can say, like, look, we're progressing. And that's the most important thing as a franchise. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, just enjoy the ride, man. Enjoy it.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Any last note? Anything else you want to add?
No, that's the oh as far as the Buck situation with the NBA, this is the NBA. The NBA. I have no doubt in my mind. A couple of years ago, the NBA basically forced the Bucks' hand to pay Giannis all that money. I have a feeling he was going to come to Toronto, right? And the only thing that kept him in Milwaukee is for them to pay him the way they did.
I don't believe that.
I believe so.
I don't
I
believe
believe
that because he's done
he
that.
won't.
How hungry are you with Serge? And he was asked that question straight up, and he
Yeah,
he flinched, and he didn't sound like he wanted to come to Toronto, honestly. And the other
but
thing is, you got to understand, Giannis is wired like an old school NBA player. He looks
He
at
is.
us as
He
the
is.
enemy. Even if we have Masai and he felt like he had a guy that he loves and he cares about because he helped him come to the NBA, that didn't
Mhm.
mean that he wanted to come play for us. I think a lot of Raptors fans misthought that for a long time.
Here's my counter to that. Masai is not an idiot. Masai is not a fool. We know that. The way he was structuring and
Yeah.
doing stuff,
Yeah.
as far as the team was concerned, getting with the players.
You're talking about
it
in
looked like he was
2020.
maneuvering. Yeah, it looks like he was trying to maneuver for something like that.
Sure.
It looks that way.
No,
right?
I agree with that. That is true at that point. But I think that was really just at that one point and that one chance.
Yes.
But in the time since, I don't think it's been realistic at all. And also, I think that also, once again, what my point is that old school mentality of Giannis is, I'm a Buck. I hate everybody else. I don't want to play for anybody else. Like, he hates the Knicks. He hates the Celtics. He hates the Raptors. He hates the Sixers. He hates all the other teams. It's just in his DNA because he's been a Buck his whole career and he's such a competitor. It's not like he has a secret desire to be a Knick. He does not have that. He does not have that.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. No, I don't think he wants to go anywhere. No, he doesn't want to go anywhere. He just wants to stay where he is. I don't think he wants to go anywhere.
And even us as fans, like, we can think, oh, Giannis wanted to come here because of Masai. I never believed that, honestly, totally. I never did.
I differ. I think for some reason at that particular time, he was thinking about coming. He was at least thinking about it.
I didn't. And the reason why is because all right, this is part of the thing with us and him is we've been failure for him over and over again. Like, every time he's faced the Raptors in the playoffs, we defeated him and put him out. That every single time. So in some ways, we have a lot of pain for him because we remind him of his failings before he did get to that championship year.
Yeah, you have a good point. I still believe the other way, though.
I mean, we did have more of a chance than other teams if he was not totally loyal to Milwaukee because of Masai. I'll admit that. But I don't think because we have Masai that he was just straight up going to leave Milwaukee. Like, that didn't make sense to me at that time. But I mean, if he had to leave and he had choices, he may have been looking like, well, I do like Ujiri. And Toronto seems like a pretty healthy place to be. So
I would think that way. Other than the fact that I saw some maneuverings being done with Masai, and I know Masai is not an idiot, and I saw some maneuverings done at that time.
Well, yeah, cutting Mark and Surge.
Yeah. Looking like
Your phone's not very good all of a sudden. Are you, like, speaking into it directly? I don't know why.
I am.
Oh, okay. I am. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, yeah, I'm listening on the outside, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm listening on the outside, so I'll talk to you guys later, man.
Oh, you're outside, like outside in the weather?
No, it's just a saying, a figure of speech. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I mean, it seems nice out there. I'm anxious to get out there, so we got to wrap up the stream. But Stargate, thanks for the call today, man. It's been a while.
Problem.
Yeah. Blessings, man. Blessings to you, Stargate, and your family, and only good stuff this weekend. Let's go.
Same to you.
All right, let's go. Let's beat the Nets tomorrow. Let's get the playoffs. Let's go. Let's go. That's right. I'm all about it. That's right. Wow. Awesome to hear from Stargate, man. It's been a bit since I've gotten a call, eh? It's kind of cool, man. Shaq Lindsay saying 2028, your players will be playing for retirement. Whoa. This guy went in tough on us here. I'm glad I'm skipping all of his stuff. I don't want to waste my time. Shaq Lindsay saying, yeah, IQ got the bag, but you got bags, 212 million worth of them. Damn. Yeah, I'm not mad at paying IQ this money. Once again, the salary cap changes in the next few years because of the TV deals, and we locked them in at an early rate, and things balloon in the NBA. If there's anything I've learned about payments in the NBA, they look bad in the beginning, but they age real well over time as money goes up around the whole league. And that's the one thing that people keep forgetting about these long-term contracts that we've got Quickly and Poeltl on right now, is that they're going to look better as the TV money goes up with Amazon and Peacock, and the salary cap goes up, and there's going to be people getting paid more around the league. And some of these people will look even worse in certain ways than what they're saying these look like. So people don't understand. The cap is not straight up set for years to come. It's going to balloon and it's going to open up and be bigger over years to come. And Emmanuel's going to be more proportionally looking correct as time goes on. And people will feel that. They'll feel that and they'll see that. That's right. Let's see. Clay saying the Raptors made some runs, but they were too small and couldn't stop Cat in the post. I didn't even see Cat really beating us in the post. I mean, I didn't see it that way. The person that beat us was Brunson. Brunson was carrying them the most of the game, and it was really the actions that I was describing earlier with creating his own space with fadeaways. That was the bread and butter that carried the Knicks offense last night. Cat threw his stuff in here and there, but not on the level that I was like, that's who's dominating us and beating us. No, I never thought that about Cat. So what if he got some dunks on us when defense was broken and nobody was there to stop him? That's not really like us too small to contain him. That's more defensive breakdowns on specific plays, and he's just getting an easy dunk. That's totally different than not being able to guard him with size. And in some ways, Collins out there, Scotty's more on Cat at that point. He wasn't really guarding him later in the game. He was guarding him at the beginning of the game, and he was effectively stopping Cat at the beginning of the game. But later on, they weren't playing their best players, and Scotty didn't play as much, and Cat was out there. Cat can get loose and get a couple dunks because we had defensive breakdowns. So I don't see this the same way, Clay. The guy who beat us was Brunson, and Cat got garbage points that were kind of easy when the defense kind of broke down. Is the way I look at it. Yeah, the problem that game was the turnovers. I agree with that. The turnovers were too many. That's right. And they made like 20 of their points off of our turnovers. So that was a real boost to them. Seymour saying Darko led us to the promised land, to the playoffs. That's right. 100 wins for Coach Rajakovic, which is awesome. Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm pretty sure if y'all don't win this year, your owner will have bags too, because he can't sleep at night. Luxury tax nightmare. I love that you're going right at this guy, man. I love it, man. Good job, guys. Clay Allen saying, I think people are overreacting to the Knicks. I think that they'll be fine. I think people are overreacting to the Knicks. I think that they'll be fine. You're talking about the Raptors will be fine. Yeah, I hope so. Seymour saying, I played for Bobby Knight, coach, but Darko is so special. I like what we got. You played for a Bobby Knight coach when you used to play? So you know that tough kind of, I'm going to throw a chair and call you an asshole kind of coach? If you need some counseling from abuse from the past, Seymour, let me know. Jimmy saying, not saying it was why we lost, but we have the worst whistle. The margin of contact we get called for, yet they are so physical with us. They control momentum. Some of those fouls on Yak. That is part of the secret to the Knicks' success over the Raptors. And this has been consistent for a few years now, is the whistle's not the same. They can mug us and hit us, and they're getting carte blanche. They're getting such privilege. And meanwhile, we are doing touch fouls, and they're calling us for little stuff. That is, in some ways, the ref manipulation that can keep both the Celtics and the Knicks perfect against the Raptors. And that is the directive. He just called the bread and butter of this right here. Jimmy Pope's got it exactly. They were not ref the same way. They are allowed to do way more things. Part of it is because of their reputation. But, we're not allowed to play the same way they are. And if we do, we get in foul trouble and we put them on a line a lot. Meanwhile, they can play the way they do, and we're not getting whistles. We're not getting the line. And this is very much the main manipulative way, other than the diabolical schedule, that the NBA can make these results happen where we haven't beat them in 3 years. This is the main ingredient right here. The whistle is different at two ends. And you can see Darko flipping out on the court, getting mad because the calls are not the same at both ends. This has been the secret thing on the download the whole time. This is what feeds that perfect record the Knicks have had over us for 2-3 years, is that they're allowed to mug us and we breathe on them and we get called for fouls. This is exactly right. Jimmy's exactly right on this. Yeah. Yeah. Cat can just throw Mamu out of the way. Yeah. There's a lot of this stuff. Like there's that one play with Josh Hart and Brandon where Josh, he's absolutely a liar. And I saw how they do this. He comes and he locks arms with Brandon. Brandon's trying to dribble. He's the offensive player. He locks arms up underneath his armpit and he's holding him like this. And then he's coming to the refs saying that Brandon's the one holding him with his arm. That's such a fucking I'm the murderer and I'm going to act like the victim kind of shit. It's definitely like narcissist Trump kind of shit. I'm going to call you out for doing something. I'm actually the criminal who's doing it. And that's what that was. It's like he went into Brandon's arm, weaved his arm into Brandon's arm. And then he turned around and he started complaining to Curtis Blair, saying, Brandon's trying to hold me with his arm, trying to do this. It's all psychology and politicking. And it's basically the criminal advocating against the victim. And Brandon's the victim in this case. And Josh Hart is the perpetrator, but he's acting like he's the victim. And then he goes and stands with Mike Brown and Rick Brunson with Curtis Blair. And they try and reinforce this, the three of them talking to Curtis Blair down to him. Yeah, don't you see how he's hooking him with his arm on offense to try and hold him off? It's all politicking. It's all perception. And it's literally the guy who's doing the fucking fouling is acting like he's the victim and saying that Brandon's doing this to me. It's that kind of shit. And you can see it in that part in the game last night. Exactly what I'm talking about. I saw it right in front of me. I could see it right in front of my face. This kind of stuff. And that politicking is messed up. Now, Curtis Blair didn't fall for it at that chance. He said, yeah, no, you fouled him. That's not, he didn't do that. And that's why Curtis Blair is a good ref for the most part. But that phenomena of touch fouls versus muggings for them is very real that I just described. And Jimmy has put out here just now. It's exactly right. Stargate saying, about time you banned Milbester. It's a long time coming. Guy got chance after chance after chance. I see another Knick fan in here who I've never seen before. There's a few of them in here, and it's kind of funny how they come out of the woodworks when they feel all high and mighty. It's really like small penis energy. It's like, oh, we did so well. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to talk shit to you guys in your clubhouse. It's really kind of like insecure shit. It's like big truck, kind of like, oh, my truck is loud because pay attention to me because I'm a loser. It's that kind of shit. It's that kind of energy that's going on right here. Yeah. Let's see. Stargate saying this. How all of a sudden these new names showing up in this chat just to gloat? Never seen these people before. I know. That's what I'm saying. Man, these people need lives. Go do something else, man. Go to your Knicks channel and celebrate. Seriously. You want to come in here with us? That's fine. You can do that. But just be respectful. That's all I ask. I will kick y'all out. I don't care. Most saying, keep up the great streams, Lex. Still in my emotional phase, but I'm here. You shouldn't be emotional about last night, Mo. Who cares? The Raptors didn't put their best foot forward. They didn't try to win this game. Let's be honest. So why would you be upset? I'm not upset. In some ways, it's like, look, even though Reggie called it prematurely, he called the white flag in the second quarter. I'm like, no, we've got time. We still have runway. This lead is not that crazy. It's only like 13 points. Come on, Reggie. You can't declare that the Knicks have won already. I mean, in some ways, in Eastern Conference slog, whereas points are premium, and they've already got a 10-point lead. In some ways, that is like a 20-point lead. But still, they still had a chance to win even in the fourth quarter. If they had tried and really wanted to win, Monique, they would have tried harder. But they didn't. And Emmanuel and RJ and Colin not playing is showing the signs that they weren't trying to win last night, Mo. So don't be upset about this. This is not like the Celtics game on Sunday. That game I was pissed about because we didn't play the right effort and we could have possibly beat the Celtics. This game, no, it was us against the association, us against the refs, us against the diabolical schedule makers, and then against Brunson and the Knicks too. So yeah, there was a lot against us last night. Let's just put it that way. Jimmy's saying Darko needs to find a way to get Yak close to the rim. Still want to see him in more drop coverage. Kind of hard with the shooting big, but I hope Darko figures it out. It's kind of what I just described earlier. I think he just needs to put him on the big that's closer to the basket. Because obviously there's going to be a 4 and a 5. And well, if he can guard the 5, don't guard the 5 on the outside. Guard the next biggest guy who's close to the basket to go try and get the rebound. And just concentrate on boxing out offensive rebounders. And that's it. Switch it, make it the switch, and make his area of the court always stay near the basket. And stop letting him have to roam outside the perimeter just because the defensive system has that kind of switch. And teams are exploiting that against us. Stop doing that. You can make the rules for how we switch and where we habitate on defense. And Jakob belongs near the paint and near the basket. He doesn't belong on the 3-point line. He just doesn't. That's right. Dat Canadian's here. Good to see a longtime Raptor freak, Dat Canadian. The Giannis situation is kind of odd to me, to be honest, though. Yeah, it's odd to me because there's somebody lying. There's somebody lying, and I think it's the NBA. It's not Giannis. I mean, Giannis can say one thing himself. I would believe the source, right? Right? He's a pretty honest person. And the track record with him has been, yeah, I've steadfastly been loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks because that's who I am. That's my DNA. In some ways, his personality is making it so that it seems like all the rest of it is lies because we know who he is as a person. And in some ways, he can't hide who he is as a person in truth. And he is a loyal person and he loves Milwaukee. He's not mad at the city of Milwaukee. He could be upset that the team's not building a team fast enough for him to contend, but that doesn't mean he should want to leave. That's all pressure that's manufactured and artificial that's built up by the NBA media and not necessarily about Giannis. In some ways, it's like this whole idea of like, if you're not number one, Ricky Bobby, you're a loser. It's this whole kind of mentality: winners first, winners, 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 winners. You know what? In some ways, there's 30 teams in this league, and we all finish in a certain place, and not everybody's going to be the Larry O'Brien champion. And in some ways, there's nothing wrong with being a winning team and having a winning record and being in the playoffs and not win the championship. It's just we've gotten to this culture where it's Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights bullshit, where if you're not first, you're just the next loser. You know, I'm sick of this shit. It's sick of this shit. It's elitist and it's kind of a mind fuck and it's kind of like bullshit that the press makes this whole thing, and it makes fans crazy and stupid and act the way they do too. Let's fucking allow for success at different levels. Utah Jazz fans were very content with their team for years and years with Karl Malone and John Stockton and winning over and over again, but they never won a championship. How were they able to be so happy? Well, this was pre-internet, Lex, and the internet didn't tell them that they were supposed to be unhappy, that they weren't winning and doing all this. Yeah, so what if they lost to Jordan in the finals? Would you say that Karl Malone and John Stockton were unsuccessful NBA players for the whole of their careers? No. John Stockton led the league in assists and steals and was the all-time leader in those categories for a long time. Karl Malone was the second leading scorer in the league for a long, long time after Jordan. Are these guys losers because they never won a championship? No. They were very successful. It's just that we got social media and the internet now to tell everybody that if you're not number one, you're a loser. You're just the next first loser. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Success can be success. If you're above 500, you're a winning team. And that means you're successful. It doesn't mean you're the champion, though, but you can still be a successful team and not win the championship, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just sick of it, man. UC saying, I agree with Doc. I also miss Woj. Yeah, I miss Woj too. It's stupid, man. It's like, it's just, man, this world's going to get worse and worse with misinformation and just idiots spouting off. Telling you, that Canadian saying NBA just trying to push an agenda to push Giannis to a big market like LA. I got nothing but love for OG. He's a good guy. Yeah, me too. Here, yeah, that's what I'm saying. This smacks of Luka. You know, they forced the Luka trade to LA to beef up and spicy the league and trying to make more interest. And that's probably what they're trying to do with Giannis too. They're trying to do. They probably wanted to do a Giannis move this season, the spicy move in the middle, and Milwaukee and Giannis were not about it and weren't cooperating. If they could have tricked them like Nico Harrison, they probably would have. And Giannis might be a Knick by now already. You know, that's what I'm saying. They can keep saying this. They're trying to put pressure on it to happen. They're trying to speak it into existence. And that I don't think that this, you know, the people that actually are in the middle of it, the owners of the Bucks and the front office and Giannis are actually complying with what the NBA actually wants, which is awesome. I hope he signs an extension with Milwaukee this summer, and it shows everybody just how full of shit Shams is. Seriously, I hope that's what happens. Yeah, Echo Beach Blues is saying, I'm starting to hate the Knicks and their fans over the past 3 seasons. Didn't mind them before. Plus, I have family in New York. Yeah, they're annoying, man. They're annoying people. They're cocky. They're way too big for their britches. They have not accomplished enough in the NBA in recent years to be like this. I'm sorry. Yeah, just because y'all swept us 5 games, it still doesn't mean anything. Y'all don't have that championship since 74. So just stop, seriously, and have a little bit more quiet work. And then when you achieve something, maybe you can gloat then. But y'all gloat on just the littlest pilly shit. You're going to win one round in the playoffs and go out in the second round. And you'll act like you won the championship after you won the first round. Seriously. That's just how they are. And in some ways, look, I usually am okay with Knicks Nation, but they've been showing their ass, especially today and other times in the last year. We brokered kind of a coolness when we did the trade with them to get IQ and RJ. They were like, we love our guys, and you love OG, and we can be cool and kind of root for each other still in the same. At this point, they're being too cocky. They want to declare that they won the OG trade and all this kind of stuff. It's like the jury's still out on that. You guys are declaring too soon. And honestly, like I said in recent, I see it as a good trade for both teams, and that you want to say once again this important thing where we have to declare winners, and everybody has to, oh, there has to be a winner. There has to be a winner. What if it's just a good trade for both teams? It's like, seriously, it's annoying. In some ways, their energy is very annoying. It's true. Ben Stiller's an all right guy, though. I'll say that. Let's keep going. Echo Beach is saying this. My feelings have flipped, though. Cat and all those guys piss me off. Too much chest beating. Cat did piss me off, but I understand why he did this. The Timberwolves didn't beat the Raptors for a long time, and he had not won on the Raptors court until he became a Knick. And then he won the first time on a Raptors court, and he did a little airplane trying to act like he was like all hyped. I own this building, all this stuff. Yeah, that's just you being immature because you had failure in this building every single time up until that point. Because when you were on the Timberwolves, you never won in Toronto. You never did. You didn't win once. And then you won one time, and you acted out just because you were like, oh, so happy. I mean, that in some ways shows that we were a boogeyman to him, that he had to get off his back, because he was so relieved when he finally won a game in Toronto on our court as a Knick. That speaks more to him in some ways. Yeah. UC saying, I also love OG, and he's the only Knick player I like. Gonna try to dispel the notion that it's injury prone, Lex. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it's like, I hate this kind of stuff in some ways. I mean, look, yeah, Joel is injury prone, of course, and we'll go in on him. But, man, it doesn't serve us to go in on our old friend OG. It just doesn't, Raptors fans. So let's not do it. It's the same kind of energy that's going at DeMar DeRozan right now. If any of that energy is coming from Raptors Nation, you are not Raptors fans. You are not. If you're against DeMar and you're all about slandering him and putting him down right now, you are not a true Raptors fan. Either that or you're a Johnny come lately that just doesn't understand just how important what he did for the Raptors is. And there's even revisionists trying to write him out of what we did and saying, oh, he's not as important. It was Kyle and Dwayne Casey. DeMar was not as important. That's absolute horse crap. That's absolute horse crap. And that smacks of a more recent Raptors fan that was not watching or paying attention from 2010 to 2019. That's what that smacks of to me. Seriously, that's what it smacks of to me. Yeah, UC saying, I'm always going to remember him guarding Braun in the playoffs as a rookie. Didn't look like a rookie that year. Yeah, that was awesome, man. Yeah, Neil saying, enjoy the ride. Words of wisdom. Exactly. Echo Beach is saying, I am a bitter man, and life has been hard. That's why I've learned to take Raptors L's in stride. Try to enjoy the process, to be honest. Yeah, you can't take that on for yourself. It's going to ruin your psyche. And if you're having any kind of issues with negative thoughts or depression, don't let the Raptors outcomes feed that. I know that happened to me personally. Around the Bosch era, I was very heavily drinking still. And every time they lost, I would go crazy with the six pack. Actually, not the six pack. I get the 2-4, and I could polish off most of a 2-4 real easy in one night. And I would get super drunk after Raptors games, and it wasn't helping anything, man. In fact, it lost my marriage because I got too drunk and maybe a little verbally abusive because I was angry and upset the Raptors lost. And my ex-wife, she left because it's like, yeah, you're a mess. Your alcoholism's gotten out of control. And I root for the Raptors partly because I want them to win so that you're not so miserable in the way you act afterwards. This is tough lessons. And, some people need to go through these lessons on their own time and schedule and their path. But I'm glad I learned them back then. And, everybody has different things that happen at different timings. And, well, it's good that you're separating them because you shouldn't take the onus of what happens with the Raptors' success or failure as your life and how you should live. You shouldn't. It's not healthy. It's just not healthy. Echo Beach is saying, would like to hang on to 6, but happy the team improved on its record massively. Thought they would be around 45 to 48 wins, and they're going to get there. It's looking very much like it's going to be 46 wins, and they will be in that range. Yeah. Stargate saying shut down Brunson and you beat the Knicks. No other player can carry them. He is the one guy that really does make his own shot the easiest. He is the one guy on that team that does that. I mean, Cat, some to an extent, maybe a little McHale, but most of them need other guys to help them get free to be able to be effective scoring. That is true. That is true. Echo Beach is saying shutting down the Brunson Cat pick and roll is key. We never exploit them defensively either. In some ways, maybe we're not doing that exactly yet. Maybe we will next week. That's why I'm saying this will be a good test for our coach and seeing how he prepares our team for the next level and whether he has good success from some of the decisions and the things he makes. We could be very pleasantly surprised and see some really cool stuff happen that we didn't see in the regular season against the Knicks because Darko's being innovative and he's kind of trying some stuff, or he's got a plan already that he's kind of been hiding that he wants to put out there when it's the bigger season, the second season, the postseason. Who knows? That's where we got to hope that, we're going to have good coaching schemes to do certain things and exploit certain things. And maybe we didn't show all of it. UC saying this, Colin and Scotty's zone defense on that pick and roll would do very well. Perhaps put Yak in the bench during crunch time and play small ball to switch every possession. Now, I was saying yesterday in the preview that we should match Poeltl's minutes with Robinson, but they didn't play Robinson. They benched him. And in some ways, they did a similar thing that we did with Colin, is have one of their best rebounders not playing the game to not be at full strength. So I was hoping they tether the minutes of Yak to Mitchell, because Mitchell's a slow enough player that in some ways it's a really good matchup, Poeltl versus Mitchell. But Mitchell didn't play. So in some ways, Yak had to kind of shadow Cat and kind of run around with him. He could do all right with Huck Porty and Diawara and Jemison. Those guys are out there. Yak can play those guys too. But Cat is a somewhat kind of a difficult matchup for Yak in some ways. And in those cases, I'm much more comfortable with Scott playing Cat and maybe Colin, playing Cat too. But we'll just have to see. I thought that if Robinson was playing, that Yak need to be handcuffed to his minutes, because that's the stuff right there. That's the stuff right there for sure. For sure. For sure. Yeah, let's see. Stargate saying we may see a Yak combo, Yak Colin Scotty lineup in a lot of the Knicks series. I wouldn't be upset with this. That's a great defensive trio that does a lot of good things defensively for sure. Yeah, most saying in my personal life, Lex. Oh, you're going through it there. You're emotional about your personal life, not about the Raptors losing the Knicks. Man, I hope whatever it is, it clears up and things happen for the best, Mo. Some things are just out of our control, and we just gotta go through the experience, and hopefully things will be better in the long run. There'll be a silver lining or something like that. Either way, we're praying and hoping the best outcomes for you and your family. Seriously. Yeah, very much so. Neil saying the Knicks' dominance against the Raptors is just reciprocal of what we did to them during the Lowry era. This time shall pass. This is true. There's a lot of built up, like we're getting built up against them, that they were built up against us because we were kicking their ass and beating their butt most of the DeMar and Kyle era. And even up until we really were beating their butt. I mean, all the way up. I think the last point of where we beat their butt and we were just top notch against the Knicks was Siakam's 50 against Madison Square Garden. That when Siakam dropped that 50 and beat them, that was an awesome victory. And ever since then, we have not played well against them. But that was kind of the cap off of the long history of the Raptors really running things on the Knicks. So they have a lot of built up animosity towards us for things like that, So yeah, Siakam's 50 in Madison Square Garden is a badass achievement, and I love it still. But yeah, we haven't had anything to root for against the Knicks since then, really. So we got to change that, and the tide will turn. This time shall pass. That's right. Stargate saying it may pass sooner than we think. Who knows? I mean, think about it. If we could script write first round series with the Knicks and we actually beat them, just think about the joy and the accomplishment for the Raptors, for our fan nation, for the feelings after what's been going on. And yeah, if we beat them when it matters in the playoffs, And who cares about the regular season? Yeah, and think about the crashing out and where Knicks fans would be if the Raptors beat them in the postseason and put them out. That's a danger that Knicks fans should worry about. They may be too cocky and say, "Oh, we're not worried about this. We don't even think about you." Like this idiot who just came in here just now. "Oh, we don't think about you guys. You're not even a rival to us." Bullshit, motherfucker. You know we are. You know we are, and we have been for decades. You may be a newer fan. It's like, no, I don't take you seriously because I've only seen the Knicks beat you guys. Yeah, no, don't be like this. Celtics fans are kind of act like this too towards us because they've had a lot of success against us too. But don't forget the whole long history. Come on now. Don't forget the whole long history. And there's a reason why there is a lot of animosity from Celtics and Knicks Nation towards Raptors Nation. There's a reason why. It's not because we're the Wizards. It's not because we're we're a lower team in the Eastern Conference. It's because we've competed with y'all in the past and we've given you pain of defeat in the past also. So let's not get it twisted. That's what I say right there. All right, I want to get done in 3 hours. We're right at near the end of the comments, so we're going to be done soon. Chris comes saying, I got good news about the Raps versus the Knicks potential series. At some point, the Raptors are guaranteed to flip the series and start winning. That's the mentality I'd be pushing on the team if I'm Darko. For sure. And I want Scotty to mature into a more vocal leader that's wise, that's looking at this kind of stuff and keeping score like Lowry would. Seriously, I want you to do this, Scott. In some ways, you got to be this guy because you're the vocal guy. You're the heart of the team. Brandon's not really going to do it. It's not really in Brandon's kind of mentality. And I think RJ's not the right leader to do it, although RJ could do this in your place. But it seems like it should come from you, Scotty. It should come from you. You set the standards of what y'all put up with or not. Maybe you need to call Kyle Lowry and talk to him and ask him about how he used to run the Raptors and his mentality about competing and not being punk asses and not letting other teams like have long winning streaks against you. Maybe you need to talk to Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan or somebody from the Raptors history that may be a friendly person to talk to you and say, yeah, Scotty, this is the thing. You can't be a punk ass soft bitch. You have to come and beat them every once in a while just to let them know and let them remind them. You know, you can't be getting swept by teams on the regular for years to go, like in a row. You can't do this. You can't let these streaks get out of hand like this. You've got to end them. You've got to end them, Scotty. Yeah, yeah. Brunson is such a problem, superstar ISO player, but we have good defenders to throw at him. Just got to be better. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Once again, all right, let's do Raptors Redditor of the day. This is Ashton's. He's a DeMar DeRozan fan. I like that. He's saying this. How do you feel about American fans from an American fan? Hey, guys, I'm an American fan with no Canadian background, and I've always wondered if it's weird or frowned upon that I support the Raptors. I know there's been some tension between Canadian American fan bases and other sports, and other stuff. Yeah, we know other stuff. So I've been curious how it comes across. When I first got into the NBA, I didn't want to just default to a local team. Being from Delaware, that would have been the Sixers or the Wizards. And at the time, both were pretty mediocre. I wanted a team that was competitive, but also had a unique identity, something that stood out. While researching teams, I ended up gravitating towards the Raptors. Their throwback jerseys, the whole branding, and players like Vince Carter really pulled me in. I've always liked the color red, and honestly, the name Raptors just sounded cool. It all kind of clicked, and I've been a fan ever since the 2013-14 season. Over the years, I've been to games supporting them, even when they're playing teams like the Wizards, Sixers, or Warriors, and I picked up jerseys for DeRozan, Siakam, and Vince Carter. One thing that always happens, though, is people ask me where in Canada I'm from. It feels a little awkward having to explain that I'm just an American who happens to connect with the team through its identity and history. Side note, I went to a game 4 and 6 in Philadelphia in 2019. Since I live a couple of hours away, I remember a Sixers fan trash talking me after the game. It was trash talked all night. And the whole Joel windmill thing. I just told him home advantage is a hell of a thing. Felt so vindicating. Kawhi hitting the shot. I don't think I'll ever hit that high and beat a moment like that watching it with my dad live in the living room with him. This is the way I feel about it. And we know because we have American Raptor fans that are on this channel with us every day, like Bryce Lawson, Nins, and Paul B. We have American fans, and some of them do have Canadian connections, unlike this fan. But no, you're extremely welcome. This is not a gatekeeping thing. The identity of the Raptors is an underdog. Is in some ways people identify with the Raptors because they know that they have to go the harder route and they identify it from their own lives. So there's no shame in this, and you are totally welcome. In fact, you've earned your stripes. You've been with us for a long time, not just since the championship. So that's very respectable that you were there with the climb with DeMar and Kyle and Dwayne Casey from 2013 on. And honestly, you're probably a better Raptor fan as an American than a lot of Canadian Raptor fans and the more recent ones that are nephews and idiots. So salute to you, Ashton's out of Delaware. Thank you for being in Raptors Nation. You are the kind of Raptors fans that we love. And you are totally fine. We don't care. You are a real one. You are a Raptor freak. You are a true Raptor fan. And honestly, you go into enemy lines and root for us with the jersey on for us in other arenas in the United States. That's brave. And we like that. And we appreciate you. And everything that we've done in success, you can share with us for sure. This isn't about nationalistic pride or gatekeeping. If you are a fan of the Raptors in any country or continent around the world, you are a Raptors fan as long as you're healthy and positive and you're not throwing yak under the bus. I would say that. But yeah, we have Raptors fans globally. And it may be a little weird. It may be kind of weird when you have to answer that question. Where are you from, Canada? And you say, no, I just love the Raptors. I had friends down in Florida that became Raptors fans. I have one of my best friends. He's a Warrior fan, and his son is a Raptor fan, and it drives him nuts. That kid has nothing to do with Toronto or Canada, but he just loves the Raptors, and it pisses his dad off. In some ways, I love that. And I think in part, I was an influence on him to become a Raptor fan. But yeah, American Raptor fans, you guys are real ones. Yeah, you're fine. We're good. It's just like there's fans for U.S. teams up here in Canada too. So that's your Raptors Redder of the day right there. Let's see if there's any breaking news right now. Let's see. Josh Schulenberg's going over the playoff seeding possibilities. There's breaking news in the WNBA. Chicago Sky have acquired J.C. Sheldon from the Mystics in a trade in the WNBA. Yeah, let's see. Oh, wow. Wait, the Tempo have signed somebody else just now. There's a new name. All buckets all the time. They've signed Liz Balungun to a training camp contract. Liz Balungun. I should go look at her. They've also signed Laura Yuskate. Laura Yuskate. Oh, wow. Maria Conde is coming for training camp. They've got her signed. So she has not come to the WNBA yet. She may be one of the best European players. She was in our expansion draft, but she's got signed to the training camp roster. Lexi Held has signed her training camp roster. Christy Wallace has signed hers. Nina Milic has signed hers. Wow. So there's a lot of people that just signed in for the Toronto Temple while we were on the stream. I want to go look at these two real quick, though. Laura Justakate, I think she's Lithuanian. Let me see what's going on here. Juskate. All right, let's see. What's her story? So she's totally new. All right, she's 28 years old. She's from Lithuania. She's 6'2", and she's 176 pounds. She has not played in the WNBA yet, but she's played extensively overseas in Lithuania and Poland and Spain and a couple other spots. She's a two-time Euro Cup champion, 2021 and 2026. And she's also a member of the Lithuanian women's national basketball team. And she's been the MVP of LMKL. And yeah, she's been a champion a few times in EuroLeague. Okay, Laura Justkate. Let's go do the scout of the day. And let's go see if we got any highlights of her on YouTube real quick we can watch. I'm going to go a little extended just because of this new news about the signs for the Tempo. This is stuff that is so new to me that in some ways it's like I've got to I might as well go look at them with you guys on the air, since I'm going to do this after the air and you guys can hear my reaction. All right, let's see what she's all about. Let's see. Let's get a short clip. This is a 2-minute clip of her playing against playing in Lithuania for Eurobasket. Okay, there's a chuck. She actually made it. She's just kind of huffing it after a foul, and she threw it in by accident. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. She's coming around the corner. She's not got it totally right, but she threw it up high enough that it had a good percentage to go in. They're playing Serbia in this game. There's a drive, a nice strong drive. She's got nice English and spin on the ball on the layup to go in. I really like the grittiness of the group that the Tempo are assembling. They're very physical and very competitive and hard nosed. That's a great pass right there. So she kind of dumped it off to another player to get that one. That's a smart play. Really nice pass. Some of the players that we've gotten are very good passers too, like Alamond and Sykes. And this girl that I'm watching right now, the Lithuanian right here. Yeah. All right. Let's see. There's a nice rebound. Okay. Get the ball down the court. Nice layup. Fake pass over to the side. Dribble to the block and push the defender off and get some space and make the layup. That's a pretty nice move there. She looks pretty strong. Pretty strong. I like that she's over 6 foot. She looks like a load, man. Like she's got some strength to her. She's got a real stout body. And she's got nice long arms too. So we'll have to see. Whoa, she just shoved the player for no reason. You didn't have to do that. She just shoved the Serbian player out of the way, after she made the basket. That's a feistiness. Maybe she's gonna be in there with Money Mabry and having the attitude there. This Lithuanian girl. That's a nice long three. That was an NBA length three. That wasn't even at their line. That was further out. That's pretty good. All right, I kind of like this girl. What's her name? Katy? Laura Giscati? Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, let me go look at the other one now too. As far as where am I? I'm on there. Okay, the other girl's name is Liz Balungun. Let's see what her story is here. Liz Balungun. Wait, why did I spell that wrong? That's not the right way to spell her. Oh, it's Balogun. Liz Balogun. Oh, I don't think she's got an Instagram. Oh, wait. Is this her? Okay, Elizabeth Balogun. She's Nigerian. She was born in Lagos. She's 25 years old. She's 6'1". She went to high school in Tennessee. She went to Georgia Tech, Louisville, and Duke for college. She was the ACC Rookie of the Year, and she's a McDonald's All-American, and she's won medals in Afrobasket. That's interesting. She has 2 gold medals in Afrobasket. Interesting. All right, Elizabeth Balogun. What position does she play? She must play forward. Okay, let's see. All right, here's a 2-minute clip of her from Nigeria. All right, let's see what she's all about real quick. 2 scouts of the day real quick. That's a nice 3. She's got height. She's got an outside shot for being she's nice and lanky as a forward. That's a nice fake. She's got good wingspan too. She's got good wingspan. She kind of reminds me of the body type of Neka Ogowemike. Like the same kind of body type with strength and length. Let's see. There's a nice pass to her in the corner. She's money for 3. Every single highlight's been her bombing threes so far. There's an inside shot. Inside shot right there. Yeah, she's playing for Nigeria in these clips that I'm watching. There's a breakaway dunk off a steal. Not a dunk, but a layup, sorry. And there's a nice play there, give and go, and she gets the catch and she puts it in real easy. Yeah, I like her wingspan. I think both these players are kind of similar that I just scouted as far as they've got nice long arms, and it seems like they're both pretty decent 3-point shooters. There she is with some inside stuff. Kind of getting in the middle and elevate, shoot over them, kind of like Brandon. There's a long pass, and she collects it, and she makes the layup with pressure from the defender. Good stuff. I like these 2 so far. So we signed a Nigerian and a Lithuanian to add more countries to the international list, the UN nation of Toronto Tempo. We've got players from like 10 countries now with these two coming into training camp. Now, I want to explain real quick. These training camp contracts are not guarantees for the year. They're gonna have to make the team, and they're gonna have to do work to make the final roster. So there's gonna be a certain amount of people that may get cut, even though they got signed just recently. This is good news. I like the tempo or filling things out. It's like we're gonna have to figure this all out. So there's two new names: Liz Bolungan and Laura Yescate have been added to the other ladies that we already knew about from the expansion draft. Pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, they've signed Julie too. Apparently, they've officially signed Julie Alamon. That's awesome. Doug Smith's trying to officially say Marina Mabry's the first official tempo player, but that's not true. She's not the first official. The first official is Julie Alamont because she was the first announced in the expansion draft. So yeah, I'm not saying that right there. All right, that's enough of the breaking news. All right, let's see. Once again, yeah, we got Slim also. Brittany Sykes is coming to Toronto. That's an all-star from last year for the tempo. It's going to be awesome. All right, real quick. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Rise Kombucha. This is a company out of Montreal. They're fantastic. They've got a bunch of different flavors. I love this stuff. This tonic is really good with fermented stuff. It's really good for your body. So Rise with Rise, a kombucha company. Straight goods on Canadian goods. This is a Canadian company. So you support it, you're supporting Canada. That's right. There you go. Stargate saying, like I said, if the Raptors win that first game, Knicks fans will lose it, much less if the Raptors win the series. New York City will enter into the void. That's a Marvel reference. Yeah, I think I know about the void. Yeah. Yeah. And cheering for the American fan. Yeah, I'm here for all of that. That's right. Neil saying, one thing I will give Nick Nurse credit for is when filling a starter replacement, Nick Nurse would choose a player that doesn't break the bench progress, so you're not cascading a problem. There you go. There you go. Fiercey's happy we're signing dogs. All right, yeah, I'm going to get out, guys. I am going to get out of the chat now. I don't know why Trevor's posting pictures of me in Discord anyway. But yeah, let's go. There's no birthday today. Oh yeah, we need to do the classic card. I gotta make sure I get everything done. It's like there's one more thing to do, Lex. It's the classic card. So make sure you get it done. All right, let me get the class. Why did I close that? That's stupid. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do this one. This one will make it easy and quick. All right, guys. Full name answer on the classic card, please. If you can see who that is. Can you see who that is? It's pretty easy. It's an easy classic card today. There's no birthday today, unfortunately. No birthday on the birthday sheet for this afternoon. All right. You guys get it yet? You probably should have. It's pretty easy. It's all in there. Who's that, guys? I don't think he's like the only person with this site. Yeah, Steven Adams. Fiercey got it. Fiercey got it first. It's funny how it both made it like with the apostrophe, like it's possessive. Steven Adams. Fiercey's just ahead of you, UC, unfortunately. So Fiercey will get the classic card today. Steven Adams. And it's easy. So I'm just going to give 50 points. It's too easy. Let's see. Fiercey. 50 points for Steven Adams classic card. Too easy. All right, y'all. Raptors lost to the Knicks once again. 5th loss of the year against them. My stars were Sandro Mamukelashvili, Jacoby Walter, and Brandon Ingram. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's actually, it's a Pelicans jersey. It's a Pelicans card, but Grizzlies card. Yeah, they do that often with these. Yeah. Thank you, UC. I appreciate that. All right. I'm out. I better get going. We're over 3 minutes. Thanks for watching Raptor Freak Stream. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Preview for the Brooklyn Nets, the last game of the regular season. We'll have the ref report, all the latest lineup news. I appreciate everybody. And remember, when you win, be a good winner. Because it's much better to be a good winner because it'll make more winning come. If you're a bad winner, you're going to bring bad stuff to your team. Let's just put it that way. You're going to bring bad stuff eventually. So be a good winner. Learn how to win with your head held high. That's right. And not rub it in and be a poor winner. Let's go Raptors.